And we're live.
I've heard about this before. All right, what are we doing? Is this the last Insomniac hour ever? No, you
Ever.
Yes.
sloppy SOB. This is the last Insomniac before the October Halloween Havoc. Let's have a party and make sure that nobody forgets the name. Black Philip Alvarez. I am Scotty R37. Steve is here on a hoverboard, and Phil will do whatever he wants. What do you say, Phil? What are we doing?
What are we doing? Whatever the hell we want, because it's the last Insomniac hour before
The
somebody gets
final one. You are the. Who's the final girl? Are you the final girl?
final girl.
I think Scotty's the final girl.
Skyler would be
I'm
the
fine
final
with that.
girl.
Yeah.
And Toad's fine with that. Anybody in the chat, thank you so much for being here, Captain Finity and Edge of Time.
Edge of
Ahoy,
Time.
Edge of
My
Time.
edge of time.
If you guys want to mention on how our sound is, make sure that everything is tickety boo.
Rough girl showed some love earlier too, by the way. But little
I
rough
like
girl.
that girl. Apparently, she's rough.
She likes it rough.
Nice.
And yes, I'm vaping. Get off my back.
Yeah, he's trying
Off
to quit.
my boat. So, dude, I'm right off the top. One of the coolest things I've seen in the last couple of days is I think we're getting, over the course of October, some of the coolest horror movies and horror movie shows
Mhm.
ever, right? Dude. And maybe I'm over exaggerating a little bit, but dude, seeing Guillermo del Toro's stuff. And then soon after that is going to be, I don't know exactly what the time is, but it's going to be Hellraiser, like
Hellraiser.
2 weeks, right? And
I'm actually looking forward to that.
I don't. A lot of people are kind of trepidatious about Hellraiser. Hellraiser to me looks great.
It's getting decent reviews. Early reviews are pretty good on it.
So here's the thing about Hellraiser, and I told Scotty this offline a little earlier. I'm like, this is just my. I have no insider information. I don't know,
Mhm.
but because Disney bought Fox, right? I have a feeling that they kept all of the stuff that was in development, like Prey, like Hellraiser, and maybe like a bunch of other stuff that was in development in line, and said we're not gonna poo-poo it, we're not gonna slash it out. You do it, and then we're gonna put it on Hulu, and here's the reason why. We've had a bunch of movies on Hulu that were good, not great, but good, especially in the
Prey was
horror
good.
genre. Good,
Prey
not
was
great.
good.
But in the past couple months, we have some really fucking awesome movies, right? And I think that maybe they kept everybody in place and said, as Disney, like, we're not going to cut your, you're not going to go away. We want to keep everything that you're doing, do everything that you're doing. These movies, like Prey, and now Hellraiser,
Hellraiser.
right? We want those. We're not going to release them in theater, but awesome. We're awesome. You don't lose your job, but more importantly, we're going to make these movies on Hulu,
Worries.
which would be if this. I don't have any insider information, but if this is the track that they did, this makes total sense to me. Total sense, because you take everything that's great about these movies that you're developing, and instead of just they don't have a job, move them into a place where they can shine. And that, dude, I'm telling you what, I loved Prey. I thought Prey was a very good movie, especially for a streamer. Now, what I've seen with Hellraiser, dude, come on, it's dope. I know a lot of people are I don't like that the Cenobites are badass. I think Pinhead is badass.
Yeah,
If you
it doesn't
don't-
matter if it's male or female because
No. If you
it's supposed to be
don't-
androgynous anyway. So who cares
if
what
you don't,
gender
that's
it is?
fine.
Look at it.
That's totally cool. If you don't like it, that's fine. Doesn't matter.
Well, and
I
also,
think it's-
aren't the Cenobites supposed to be sexy?
Well, no. They're supposed to be gruesome.
Yeah, but I thought that they were
And
supposed to be
sexy.
somewhat enticing.
Yes, and enticing. Yes, Yeah.
So sexy.
kind of. From a certain point of view, right? Because Cenobite. I mean, no eyes. I mean, come on, dude.
Remember the one from Hellraiser 3 with the
How
CD
fucking
head?
sexy is it? Well, dude, I'm not going to judge. I'm just going to
Tell
say
me, man, come on.
how sexy is that? I don't know. I'll leave that to others. But the fact is, that's cool. I love the fact that they're doing it. I love the fact that it's kind of in the, well, how do I want to say this? I don't want to overplay it. Right now, people are really hyped on it, and I think that's good. The only counterbalance I would say is like I love the fact that everybody's hyped on Hellraiser, but if it doesn't deliver, we've seen 100 movies with great teasers that suck. We've seen a bunch of movies that were great with their teasers were horrible. Like John Carter of Mars. John Carter of Mars. Horrible fucking trailer.
That movie was good. That movie's dope, man.
They did not John Carter of Mars, they didn't even, execute any, ads. But movie was great. So I'm not going to do that. But what I'll say is, I think this is, I don't know. I'll go out on a limb. I think this is going to be good. I think it's going to be really good.
I'm optimistic about it. I mean, it's Hellraiser. Hello. I mean, Hellraiser is one of my. It's up there. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's not nothing I'm overly crazy about, but I'll watch it. It's
But
Hellraiser.
it's very intriguing. It's mind. It's provoking, right?
How many of the Hellraisers have you seen?
There's like what 11 of them. I think this is like.
I don't know. I'm not a Hellraiser fan. I'm asking you.
So let me ask you this.
Only
I'll
like
ask
the first three.
Okay.
in a different way. How many Hellraiser movies were actually Hellraiser movies and not studio movies that they put the Hellraiser
Put into Hellraiser, yeah.
So I think there's 3 or 4. The rest were all movies that they put the moniker on. And
I heard
3, I don't know about 3 yet, but maybe that was a moniker on that one too.
The one that Scott Derrickson did is said to be the last official Hellraiser.
And dude, he's my favorite. One of my favorite horror directors. Derrickson's bomb.
Spoilers, he's on the list, Steve.
But he's one of the best. He's one of my.
I gotta
One of
watch his
my
movies. I gotta watch his movies to prepare for that show because I don't want to sound like a
Cool.
dink.
Woo!
No,
What list? What list? What list?
The director list that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Well, I'll tell you what. Maybe later, as a treat, we'll show some artwork.
Show the artwork, the thumbs you
Yeah.
graciously did for me. They're badass, and I can't wait to show them off. So.
Well, and Phil, this isn't necessarily about spoilers. This is also, come on, we're looking
I know, I'm
forward
trying to.
to
I wanted to be
Halloween
surprised,
Havoc.
Scotty. Come on, man.
surprise for
Halloween
what? They
Havoc.
don't
That's
even
gonna
know
be
that it's Come on, promote,
I know.
elevate.
Promote, elevate.
Promote.
Yes. Okay. The next week's first show is going to be on my favorite horror icons. Period. I think I have like 15 of them, maybe. Might be
And
more. Always
I'm
add
allowed-
to the list.
I'm allowed on this show that you're
Oh, no.
discussing your horror icons. Now, when you say
Yes.
horror icon,
Mhm.
when you say horror icons, do you mean like characters, or do you mean actors? Do you mean directors? What is what?
Characters? Like characters, like
Okay,
say Pinhead.
right.
Oh yeah.
And
Pink
see, this is I've only seen the Hellraiser with Terry Farrell, and I think that's 3.
Yeah, like I'll send you the list for sure. Like I'll give you plenty of time to do your thing, do your little research. So
My little research.
Your little
I do
research.
such little research.
Why you think you're one of the few that's allowed on the show? Because then he's,
The
pretty
only
good.
one, motherfucker.
Oh, this guy below me is allowed too. I'm just kidding, Steve. Yes, you're allowed on too. This guy down below.
Down below.
Of course you're allowed, Steve. You did my damn thumbnails for me, so
We should show, dude. We should show him later on. The fucking cast.
later on. We'll
So
see.
anyway, no, I'm looking forward to that. So next week is going to be horror icons, and that's fantastic. And again, I've never been much. I'm more.
Oh, dude, Scotty, I'm sorry to interrupt, but because next week is the first week in October, and we do a retrospective of a very awesome TV show, Quantum Leap. Are there Halloween episodes, and can we exploit those, or not exploit those, but do those
They're doing
in these weeks?
They're doing the
Or
episodes
is that
in order
how-
though, by their release. So
See, Phil gets it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there is a Halloween episode, but we're not gonna be able to see it next week.
Okay. All right.
Jill has they're doing it in order of each episode.
They are doing it in order, and I love that. I love it, but it sounded fun, so whatever.
No, it's a good
Well,
idea.
no, it's also a very controversial episode. But one of the things that we're doing
Here he is. Everybody, welcome to the show, Paul with the
Paul.
Twin Flicks.
Hey, how's it going?
And Paul knows all about Quantum Leap, and so the Halloween episode is something that he probably can expound about. It's controversial, I've heard.
Welcome to the show, Paul.
Hold on.
Glad
a second,
to have you. I'm trying to
looking
get
at
you
my
on
settings.
forever, dude. I'm trying to get
Looking
you
at
on
my
forever, man.
Yeah,
settings real quick. Just a second. I'm looking at my settings real quick.
Mm-hmm.
you good?
Well, he's working on it. Anyway,
Sound
I'm
good to me, brother.
Okay.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
So my monitor's down here, but my camera's up there. So if I'm looking down here, not up there, that's why.
We all do that.
I
Awesome.
look up. I have the YouTube singing on my TV right now because it shows the chats first up there before it shows it here. So
Oh, okay.
So what you're saying is you're going to be Al Pacino from Scent of a Woman.
Yes.
Completely blind.
Hooah!
who's this guy?
Anyway, it's
So
good to
there
see
you
you,
have
Paul.
new-
Like it's been, we've been trying to. Well, at least I know you and you've been wanting to sort of connect with all of us for a while. So I'm actually really. This is great. This is fantastic
Yeah,
to see you on a
finally.
panel.
I
He's
know.
been on my
What?
no. So he's been on my show channel before. We did like an hour and a half interview like a year ago.
Yeah,
So he's-
like a year ago or something.
Yeah, it was just me and him, and that was a pretty fun show.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been wanting Scotty on my channel for a while, and we made plans, and then one thing or another just keeps falling through.
Everybody wants
But,
Scotty on. I'm just saying.
Well,
He's just so damn popular.
I would invite you on too, Steve, but I don't know if do I follow you? I'm not
No.
sure.
No, it's fine. No, dude.
Just follow
I like
his
the fact
channel.
Scotty and I are partners in our adventures and on our online stuff, and the fact that you want Scotty
you, Billy.
on is
It's up to
amazing.
me if you haven't.
He's exactly what I've probably.
Okay.
But you and I have talked before. We're members of the PGS and
Yeah, he's a PTS member, former mod, I believe.
I was a former mod.
Former.
Yeah.
Um,
That was a huge ordeal.
Yeah, well, dude, anytime if you want to talk anytime about DVDs or old school, VHS movies,
Definitely.
I'd love to come talk to you.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, me and a friend of mine,
Is that
Dan.
a Joe Bob Briggs hat you have on?
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
Joe Bob Briggs.
That's freaking badass, man.
You know what's cool about Joe Bob Briggs? So he said everything you do, Steve, online on his Facebook page will repost. So every time we're online, he reposts our stuff.
Really?
What a
That's
good
awesome.
guy. What a good guy, dude.
Yeah, he plays like an a-hole
cool.
kind of on TV, but I heard he's like one of the nicest guys in real life. So,
Well, like I've talked to Darcy a lot, and she follows me, and she reposts things that I
Darcy?
post. Yeah.
Yeah, Darcy's awesome, dude.
Of course, we all know that's not her real name, but
No, but whatever. It's fine.
so like Black Phillip isn't my real name. So.
Nuh-uh.
um,
Bob.
It's Bob. It's really
Bill.
Bob Alvarez. It's Bob Alvarez, my real name.
Bob Alvarez.
John.
It's Wilbur. Wilbur Alvarez.
Wilbur.
So what have you guys been talking about?
Oh,
we just got here.
Yeah, we just started. You weren't too late. We were just trying to plug my future horror shows as I was texting. When we were talking. I was just giving people the.
Awesome. Paul, what is your favorite horror movie?
Yeah, you're a horror guy. I think
I hate it when people ask me what my favorite movie is.
Okay.
No, I can't do it either. Like, what's my favorite? Like, I don't.
I love it.
many.
Doesn't matter.
But I mean, I can list some of my favorites.
Okay, fine.
Actually, I have one right here. Actually, you ever
Show
see
it.
Possession?
Yes, awesome, dude.
Ooh.
Yes,
Dude,
Haven't
this
seen it.
movie is insane. It is awesome.
awesome.
It's titled Possession, but it's not about a possession. You know, it's not supernatural or anything like that.
Nope.
But it's a movie you have to see to you have to experience it.
I guarantee most of our audience hasn't seen it, and you should get it.
Yeah, and it wasn't made in America. I think I don't remember what country it was made in, but it's not an American-made movie, but it is in English. Yeah. So if you look up information about it, it's not foreign language, but yeah, I mean,
Foreign language is awesome too. You can
Really?
totally subtitle. It's okay.
well, a lot of people complain. They said, "I don't want to read it. I just want to watch it."
I get it. That's what I was saying. I'm like, it's okay to read. It's fine. It's totally awesome.
What I always tell them is just try it out. I make a friend, like one time I made my friend, he bitched and complained about it, and I made him sit down and watch a foreign language movie. And, 20, 30 minutes into it, it's like he didn't even realize there were subtitles on it because you're so focused on it, you don't even realize it. And
dude, so I did that with a couple of friends with Parasite.
Oh, yeah.
And they were stunned.
Oh, Parasite's so good.
Parasite's one of the best movies ever
That
made.
movie's awesome.
But
did you guys?
if you've never seen it,
Damn, you're gonna make me add it to the list now, Steve. My lists aren't big enough. Oh, that's what she said.
Paul, go ahead.
What's funny is that a friend of mine hated subtitles. He refused. And then all of a sudden he started watching TV with subtitles because he got hard of hearing. And so I said, well, you're watching subtitles because you're hard of hearing. What's the difference between watching a foreign movie with subtitles and just watching subtitles on your TV? It's the same thing. Mm-hmm. And finally he said, well, Parasite won for Best Picture. I guess I should give that a try. And yeah, he was blown away by that. And
you know what happened with me? I fucking hated subtitles. I didn't want to read. When I go to the theater, I want to be entertained. I don't want to, I don't want my mind to work. I don't want to learn. That was a bad thing to think. I would love to learn.
It's not till next week for Billy's Pastry. We're not talking about horror. But hello, we're Billy's Pastry.
But subtitles.
I'm sorry, real quick. We have to acknowledge that comment real quick. The whole show's not about horror. Whoever made that comment, I didn't see it. The whole show's not about horror. We're talking about a whole bunch of different subjects. Yeah. So you don't leave just because we're talking about horror right now.
Rebellious Pastry, don't leave. You can come on if you want to.
Or leave because who cares? So
well, no, but also I would like to say, hey, Rebellious. Hey, Rebel P. We've met before, and I watched your interview. I think it was a trilogy last night. And it was really interesting. And thanks again for being here. Like, you have an interesting channel. And if you aren't a fan of, or if you haven't heard of Rebellious Pastry, it is a lifestyle animation. It's just it's a slice of life. It's a great storytelling animation channel. You should totally check them out.
It's great to their channel. Very interesting stuff.
I spent a lot of time last night watching it, and I was totally enthralled, and I enjoy your joy. So
that's cool.
They are fucking amazing. So
well, yeah. Well, I just wanted to say that just because we're talking about horror doesn't mean you have to leave. Because
please stay rebellious. Please stay rebellious. I would love to have you.
Sorry for interrupting you, Steve. What were you saying?
Oh no. We're good. We're totally good.
But speaking of horror, and this is something that I saw that Cinema Gulp was in the chat, and this is a movie that I purchased based on Cinema Gulp, our good friend at Cinema Gulp's recommendation, and I haven't seen it yet because I am afraid of it. I am very afraid of it, but I have not yet seen X.
You bastard!
So some people have walked out of this movie.
Why?
I'm so mad you're gonna see that before me.
I'm sorry.
They are intimidated by Black Man Dick.
Or just true good horror.
I have to say that
Ty West kills it, bro.
I saw this in the theater, and before I went to go see it in the theater, I heard everybody saying that it was atrocious. It was so violent and gory, and it's not. No, I have seen way worse movies.
What they said pre us going into the theater, it was almost like a disinformation campaign. They were like, "Oh, don't go see this. It's not good. It's totally horror, and it's." I'm like, dude, no. And when I watched it, I was like, "Fuck, this is such a good movie." Ty West. I know Ty West has a history, but he's a good filmmaker. Dude.
Oh yeah, it's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
When I hear people talk about how violent and gory and over the top, graphic it is, all I'm thinking is you haven't seen very many horror movies then. There is a lot worse movies.
In my opinion, over the top.
Yeah, I think you were texting me. You were texting me about X.
This movie is way worse than freaking X.
When's that one?
Yeah, gore and fucking shit on the floor.
I mean, there's a scene. There's a scene where a guy rapes a girl through the eye socket.
Hey, that's my favorite.
This is way worse than X.
Damn, son,
that's fucking nasty.
Yeah, this is the German media book out of print now.
Good one.
Nice.
Dieter Bastian.
Hey, Dieter, our favorite German.
Yeah, he talked me into getting it.
Yes, of course.
But Paul, you obviously are an aficionado for physical media. What do you think that one of the best older horror films transferred to a 4K or even a Blu-ray or a DVD? Do you have one that really stands out?
Shout Factory's been putting out a lot of them.
Good ones.
Yeah. I just got the 3 Halloween ones that they just released. They arrived today, so.
Yeah, Halloween. But
Curse, H2O, and Resurrection. I got.
Yeah. The boutique label. The boutique.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The boutique label that I think is hitting out of the park, and my number one is Blue Underground. Mm-hmm. Their stuff is incredible. I mean, they put yeah, but it's worth the price if you can afford it. I mean, Maniac. Did you ever think 1980s Maniac would ever hit a 4K UHD?
No.
And they don't just restore it and then release it. They throw in everything in the releases, documentaries, audio commentaries, trailers.
How did they get their hands on this fucking gold.
Oh,
Dude. I'm like, dude, that's fucking awesome, dude. If you can get your hands on that,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, fine, go.
We need to learn how to stop talking to each other.
Sorry, it's fine.
It's all right. Go ahead. You're all fine.
The owner of Blue Underground is William Lustig, who is the director of Maniac. If God told, not if God, God told us to, a number of different movies, and so he's bought the rights to all these independent horror movies like Zombie, Maniac Cop 2. And then he's actually been restoring them. Him and his company's actually been restoring them themselves.
He does it himself. That's awesome.
So that way they can ensure it's like the top of the line for 4K restorations. So yeah, Blue Underground I think is my favorite. And then next is Shout Factory, and then Kino Lorber.
Kino
like
is knocking it out of the park. Kino's knocking it out of the park this year.
Kino Lorber is awesome. Yeah.
I just got Tropic Thunder from Kino Lorber.
You already have it.
Not supposed to be out till October 18th, I think.
Damn
and then
it.
Today I got In Bruges.
You get them early,
Oh,
man.
nice.
You get them early, man. That sucks.
Well, actually, I didn't get
Stinky Tuna is fucking badass too.
I didn't get this.
Tuna don't exist no more.
Yeah,
it does. But
It does? It came back?
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Secretly, it came back on. It's under the table. See,
that's how I got my 2 lies.
Under the table. You got
So
your 2 lies under the table.
I got my copy of 2 Lies in Blu-ray from Stinky Tuna.
One of my favorite action movies of all time is True Lies.
All right, take care, Rebel. Thank you for
Rebel
showing
Pete.
up.
All right, thanks for joining us, man. And then I think in a week or 2, this baby's coming out in 4K.
I've never seen it.
Pre-ordered already, you know that.
You have to see this movie.
I've heard. I have so many friends who have
Next
said
week,
that it's
I'm getting the Criterion of Night of the Living Dead.
Oh,
yeah, that's supposed to be good too.
Criterion version.
Yeah, I mean, and I watched In Bruges today and compared it to the Blu-ray. Dude, it is, I think, is one of the best transfers that Kino Lorber has put out. I mean, it is just like, it's ridiculous how pristine
Kino is up there.
Restoration is. If you don't mind, can I? Is a lot of people think that
make you big. I can make you big.
Big? You can make me big, huh?
Yeah.
You can make me big, huh?
Like that.
If you don't mind, can you make
my
me
spinach? A lot. I just wanted to say really quick, a misconceptions out there that a lot of people think that Shout Factory, these boutique labels, do their own restoration work. And so when a restoration comes out that's not very good, they just crap all over these boutique labels. People have to understand that they don't do the restoration work themselves. It costs. It's not feasible with how much it costs. It costs upwards to $200,000, $300,000 if done right.
For a transfer,
yeah, for a good 4K restoration. There's no way.
And maybe more.
Yeah, it just all depends. And so there's no way that these boutique labels are going to afford to do that. So like Platoon came out, and it's probably one of the worst disappointing restorations I've ever seen. But of course, everybody dumps all over Kino Shout Factory for thinking that it's their fault. They were only handed what MGM gave them.
Yeah.
And that's it. And so their hands are tied. They couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, they said the Platoon 4K is not even better. It was like
one at a time, gentlemen. One at a time.
Yeah. I mean, I did it's on my channel now. I did a 4K versus Blu-ray comparison. And I mean, it's not a good restoration.
I don't care.
But
I have Platoon. That's all I care about.
I don't think it was on purpose.
I just wish that people would stop blaming Shout Factory, Kino Lorber, these companies for something that's not their fault.
It's hard though. Paul.
Now the real question is,
that's really, if I can, it's really hard because they just want a villain, right? So they're just gonna paint that brush, right?
Mhm.
So my fault. I'm just saying, there's no way to say, oh, I don't want that to be this. They're gonna paint that brush that way,
yeah,
and that sucks. And I'm sorry about that.
yeah. I mean,
Well, I just watched their version of Fog because they just released Fog on 4K, and that was a gorgeous looking 4K.
and
With
that
Tom Welling.
No,
Yeah.
that's a remake, the original.
and
Silly.
that
Oh,
and that rest,
I would like to see that one.
and that restoration was done by Studio Canal. It wasn't even done
Right.
by
Right,
And-
Studio Canal's a pretty good one, right?
Oh, yeah.
Studio Canal's another good one. They're the ones that
The
are
only-
going to do the True Lies one if it ever gets a 4K release, and The Abyss.
Oh, I love the Abyss. Dude, give me a 4K.
Well, I'll tell you something. A buddy of mine worked on the restoration for The Abyss and True Lies, and he said it was done a year ago, and they've been just waiting for Cameron to just approve it, and he finally approved it. Now it's up to the studio when they want to release it. And
So all right. That
honestly,
makes sense then. That makes sense.
Clearly, it's going to be December. It might be December, so fingers crossed for December.
honestly, if it's going to be released, they're probably going to release it when Avatar 2 is out on 4K physical media.
I
And
think
then-
before. Yeah.
And well, that they're going to release Avatar and 4K on physical media before, and I've been told that Titanic 4K is coming out as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then next year they're talking about The Abyss and True Lies. So hopefully, because we've been
What? I've been waiting for the Abyss for like 20 fucking years.
now. Have you
No,
seen the
Rick?
director's cut?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
You know, that's what, you know, if you think about movies that are kind of that are special to you, that's a movie to me that's special to me. That's like on my top list of movies.
In my top 5, Shawshank, this one. I mean, come on. Yeah. Godfather 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Abyss, if I may.
Nicky.
The Abyss is a great and Shawshank is too. I will let you talk, Scotty, of course.
I can't wait.
I really love The Abyss is such a good movie.
Well, and The Abyss is one of those, and sort of dovetailing. I saw William Friedkin talking. You said, never mind.
I'm sorry. You cannot bet against John Cameron. Thank you, Scotty. Go ahead.
James Cameron.
James
Yeah,
Cameron.
he did.
Dude.
Yeah.
John.
His evil
You know
twin
what?
brother, John Cameron.
You cannot bet against Keith Spielberg.
Senor Spielbergo.
Yeah.
You almost made me spit my beer, Paul.
I saw William Friedkin. I don't know how it showed up in my YouTube algorithm, and it was William Friedkin was talking about Titanic and putting it shoulder to shoulder with James Cameron, with Casablanca.
Oh, here we go.
And saying that Titanic and Casablanca, the way that Casablanca connected with audiences as a romance in 1942
Okay.
was the same way that it connected with audiences in 1997, same year as Tomorrow Never Dies. Anyway, so, and it is a sort of a timeless romance, and I sort of put it up there, but the thing, and going back to James Cameron, I think that The Abyss is a much more harrowing love story between Ed Harris's character and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio in that movie is one of the greatest romances, not only with the fact that Ed Harris's wedding ring getting into the pressure door saves his life, and the way that he attempts to save Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio life.
As life.
Sorry. But that is one of the most glorious love stories that I have ever seen in The Abyss. It is a great undersea science fiction film, but it is an absolutely heartbreaking and great romantic film that I don't think a lot of people have seen. I do have the special edition DVD. I don't think there's a Blu-ray.
No,
there's not.
But it is amazing, and it is one of the few movies that I can watch with my dad. And he's like, this is so great. This is so great. And when we get to the point where, like, Ed Harris is pounding on that woman's chest, being like, live! And everyone is crying, and it's like, she's dead. And it's like, no, she's not. She will not die. She is stronger than that. And I think, like, James Cameron makes some of the greatest character movies.
He does.
And I think that it is lost. And also part of that is because he's a real life adventurer who decides to go to the bottom of the ocean instead of making movies.
Well, he spent like 10 years doing that.
I know. What a boring life he
I've
has.
only done like 2 movies since
I can make
Titanic.
a movie. I can make a movie and then spend 10 years like exploring the ocean.
That's what happens when you make the first $1 billion
And then
movie.
come up and make another movie.
Well, let me with staying on the Abyss. Like what Scotty was saying about the love story romance. I mean, when they're in the submersible that's filling up with water, and the only chance they have to survive is that she drowns, and he tows her back to the oil rig. And that scene is so claustrophobic. The way it's shot, it's shot so tightly, and you see the water continually going up closer and closer to above their shoulders. And she says, it's the only logical way we survive. And he yells, fuck logic. And it's just like, you feel the intensity in that moment between them.
Well, and Ed Harris's character is named Bud. I forget Mary Elizabeth Master Antonio's name. But in that scene, she logics it out and says, this is the only way it's going to work. This is the only way it's going to work. And we have to do it this way. And he's like, no, no, no. And then he's convinced by her. And then as he's all ready, and then she starts being like, no, I was wrong. No, I was wrong. Stop it. Stop it. And it's like he has to watch her essentially die.
Yeah, die. Yeah.
And she's pleading for her life, even though she has chosen this course of action. It is one of the most heartbreaking and absolutely, like, it is incredible. And I don't know why that movie has been lost somewhat.
Well, first of all, I mean, it was a bomb when it came out.
True.
And because the studio just butchered the crap out of it, I mean, they cut out almost, 40 minutes?
40 minutes. Almost
of the movie.
An hour.
I mean, the movie's 2 hours and 20 minutes, the theatrical cut. The director's cut's 3 hours.
They didn't market the film at all.
Yeah, and nobody knew what it was about. And I remember friends telling me about it. I was 11 at the time, but I remember friends telling me about it, coming back and saying, yeah, it was a good movie, but then the aliens showed up at the end and it just ends. And it's like, what was the point of the whole movie? You went through this experience and then, okay, so it just ends. With the director's cut, as you know, it spells it all out exactly why the aliens are there. Has the 1,000-foot tidal wave, the tsunami. And just rather experience, I have a friend of mine, the guy I do a physical media show with, Dan. I've always talked about the Abyss with him, and he's never really liked it like we have. Like we're talking now about it. He's never been like that. And finally I asked him why, and he said the same thing that I just told you. Well, nothing happens. I said, so you never saw the director's edition or the director's cut or dubbed as a special edition? No, I've only seen what's on HBO. I'm like, oh.
Come on, man.
And he said, and I didn't like it. It was just kind of stupid. I said, okay, you need to watch it. And he's kind of one of those people where it's like you have to really, really convince him hard to watch a director's cut of something, because I know some people just think, well, it's just a couple scenes. What's the big deal? And so I just started showing him, sending him YouTube videos of the cut footage. And the first thing I showed him was of the tsunami, the 1,000-foot tsunami. And he wrote back and was like, oh my effing God, I can't believe believe why would they cut that out? And I said, yeah. And he said, how do I get this? How can I watch this? I said, you can find the DVD, but it's not anamorphic. It's just in a little box instead of your screen. Yeah. And that's why fans are just clamoring, just waiting for the 4K to come out.
I think
it's definitely got an audience. People love that movie. I mean,
oh yeah.
I think the only time I saw it was in the THX Gold Fox VHS. Is when I saw
that one.
The special edition. I don't even think they defined it as a director's cut. They just called it the extended edition, and that's when I fell in love with it.
I'll tell you, I bought it in '93 is when the director's cut came out, and it was first released on Laserdisc. I spent $125 on a box set Laserdisc. Came with 4 discs. And came with like an hour and a half documentary about the entire making of the film. I mean, and after you see the documentary of what they went through on making that movie, you appreciate the movie even more. I mean, it's insane.
Man, I wish you would have seen that.
Yeah, it was a huge box.
First things first, go watch The Sphere. And then watch The Abyss and understand what is better and why one is a cinematic fucking brilliance. Pardon the swears.
Fucking badass.
It was swearing on my channel, damn it. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, it was awesome.
For everyone, are there movies that are only available on DVD or VHS that are the best versions that you want to see, aside from The Abyss, obviously?
Well,
I always want the best version of any movie, so that's why I always buy 4K. So, but
what do you mean by best version?
I suppose it would be something like the way that it should, or at least the director's intent, the way that it was supposed to be. Like, you get the work prints, you get certain things that were back when DVDs and VHS, when they were trying to capitalize on home video, that they really have sort of let by the wayside because they've gone by the wayside of the cultural zeitgeist. Like, it's not a movie that you want anymore. You don't see it anymore. Like, and the only reason I bring this up is because I have this.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
I'll be right back.
Now,
just a second.
Yeah. Obviously, I've offended Paul.
Yeah, I can't stand that movie.
You don't like this?
No, I'm just kidding. I'll be right back.
Take a piss.
Like, I've seen. Okay, so this is my favorite.
Version? Is that the Blu-ray?
Oh, this is all of. No, this is a DVD. It has the work print. It has the American theatrical cut. It has the European cut.
I'll be right back.
And it's just, again, sort of going into
Go ahead.
It is one of those. It is a movie that I think has been presented so many ways, and I don't think it's on Blu-ray. I don't think that the complete set that is available here is available on Blu-ray. But this is a set that I think should be reproduced in Blu-ray 4K.
Can I show you something now?
I would love it if you did.
Boom! 4K.
Is that on Blu-ray? Is that 4K?
4K.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the whole
4K version.
Yep.
All the versions.
Includes all the cuts.
You. Both of them.
Now, the thing is.
Hold on. I'm so cool about that. You made my boy feel like a piece of shit.
No, wait.
Fine. Come on,
Did you get the little books? Did you get the books?
No, because I didn't spend $80 on the mega.
I paid like $50 for this. Come on.
It was $25 in 2004.
Now
It still smells good.
Now this is not available in the States.
Oh, okay.
Some second sight.
Why do you have it?
The reason being is because the producer of the movie owns the movie, And I mean, Shot Factory, because I talked to my rep from Shot Factory, and they've been trying for years to get this out in 4K.
Cheers.
And they're asking, the producer who owns the rights is asking way too much money for it. So Second Sight, who is based in the UK, I guess somehow they talked him into it, and so they sold them the rights. But they won't. So, yeah, but he won't sell the rights to anybody in the States. So I don't know. But
that guy's a dick.
I don't understand why, but whatever.
The only way to get this is through Second Sight. And
can you still get? I don't think you can anymore.
You seen Thriller?
Like with Michael Jackson?
No. Does this look like with Michael Jackson?
I don't know. Like no.
Video version of
that would be pretty cool though if Michael Jackson was holding that shotgun.
John Landis's Michael Jackson.
Dude, that's fucking good. I want that one.
That's cool.
What is that?
This is from Vinegar Syndrome. They were able to secure the rights to redo this in 4K. This is a movie I never in a million years thought they would ever put on 4K.
Did you get the Cloak and Dagger version that Vinegar Syndrome just released?
Yeah, no.
I'll be right back.
Cloak and Dagger with Dabney Coleman?
Yes, that one.
Come on, man.
Cloak and Dagger. I got it.
This is good shit, bro.
Well, I like this show and tell. I like we're doing show and tell. Hey, Stephen Ransom, how are you, sir?
How are you doing, Scotty? And like the jacket, boy. Are you going bowling later on?
I am. I'm actually going to go flip burgers.
Flip burgers.
I thought that's what you were doing here. Aren't you flipping burgers right now?
No.
So there's the vinegar. This is out of print now.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they didn't give me that cover, but I have the 4K version that Vinegar Syndrome just released.
Is that actually the one with Dabney Coleman?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, what's nice about this one. Oh, go ahead.
They didn't send me that cover though. They just sent me the plain version. I ordered it from Bone Moose. So
you know why? It's because this went out of print like a day after it was announced. Yeah. and just recently, like a month ago, Vinegar Syndrome put out the standard edition.
Yeah,
so
that's boring. This isn't as that cool looking.
But this is pretty cool. It's got a door there that has magnets. So
nice. I love that package design with the magnets. Such good work.
Yeah, pretty cool. And then on the inside,
that old lady with her cut off fingers. It's creepy. Okay. So I am looking.
Game over, man.
Oh, it's fucking dope. Game over, man.
So
I am. Oh wow.
Okay. Yeah. So it's got the O-ring,
and it looks like an Atari. It looks like an Atari. That's awesome.
And then the Atari game.
Yeah.
And then this is cool too. This booklet is pretty sweet.
It's Ricky Dinky version I got.
God damn,
that's so cool.
This is
jealous.
Hey man, you gotta jump on these as soon as these are announced. You gotta jump on them. Otherwise,
this is a little Ricky Dinky version they sent me.
But,
wow, what is this?
But that still looks awesome, man. Like I can't. You know what? I'm shocked that it was actually re-released in 4K. I have no knowledge of this until now, and that's amazing.
Scotty, it's all it's had is a VHS and a DVD.
Yeah,
it's never had a Blu-ray, and I've been holding out because I love this movie, and so I've been debating, should I just buy it on DVD? I don't know. Holding out for years, praying to the physical media gods that it'll come out at least on Blu-ray. Never in a million years,
Which, by the way, was filmed in my city, so
San Antonio. Now, real quick, Scotty, you're talking about something that's on DVD or VHS, whatever, that's not on Blu-ray that you love. This is something right here that I've been keeping. I think it's like the late 90s. Make me big.
Make you big.
Ooh.
Metallica. The S&M concert. This is that had composer Michael Kamen in on this concert. It's the entire concert on DVD. 2 discs. One's falling out. What's
Listen
nice about this is that it has like 7 different audio tracks. They take each instrument, like the drums, the guitar, each instrument was recorded separately. And so you can go through the audio, and if you want to hear just the drums, you can hear just the drums. If you want to hear just the guitar, you can hear just the guitar. And it's in 5.1. Each instrument's coming from each discrete channel. It is amazing. And this is one I wish they would put on Blu-ray, but I know it'll never happen. But
Now, do you think that, like, obviously there would be a higher fidelity for the soundtrack, and obviously the image would be redone, but like, is the upgrade? Would the upgrade be worth it?
if it's done right, yeah.
If it's done right, but
Now,
I've watched your channel, and you've done many reviews where it's like, these guys, they really dropped the ball.
Yeah, it just depends. I mean, if
you're not afraid to sell it like it is, come on.
if somebody, say like a cheap place like Mill Creek, the staple of physical media, say a place like Mill Creek, and they put this on Blu-ray. All they would do is just port it from DVD onto a Blu-ray. They would do absolutely no work to it. Now, if another company, say like Funimation or something like that, goes in and does it, they would actually do a new transfer and do a HD 1080p transfer. And so that would definitely be worth it, because the bit rate would be a lot higher. The audio bit rate would be higher too. Now, the problem is that I don't think that they would actually put in that much work to do each discrete channel where you can hear the different audio selections with the instruments. I doubt they'll go that far with it, but yeah, I mean, it's still great. I mean, this is I think this is one of my last DVDs I have. I won't let go of it.
I still have boatloads, and I obviously based on the shirt that I'm wearing, and I don't have the I don't have the Blu-ray. No, Dogma.
Oh, nice. Man, I had that version. I'm so pissed I gave it up.
Dude, I did this. I didn't. Dude, I had that version, and I heard that it was coming out on Blu-ray.
It is on Blu-ray. I can get it for $100.
I'm sorry,
but it's not going to have the same special features.
I mean, 4K.
Shit though, man.
4K, it'll never happen.
4K. Now, so what did I do? I heard it was coming on 4K, so I'm like, well, why am I holding on to this? So I sold it at a used video store. Got like $10 for it. And now I go into that store, $150
for the Blu-ray.
For the DVD, there's $150.
I can still find it. I can still find it in Canada for like 30, 50 bucks.
Yeah,
and that's Canadian dollars, so that means it's like 2 nickels and a pint of maple syrup.
Now, we've all heard Kevin Smith's interview, right, about Dogma. Yes. Okay.
I don't know. For everyone who's watching who doesn't know, please.
Oh, okay. So Kevin Smith did an interview. I forgot who it was with. And he was asked about Dogma. Is it ever going to be re-released again, especially on Blu-ray or 4K? I mean, 4K or in a theater. Kevin Smith has said that he has wanted to get this movie back out in theaters and on physical media again, for people, mainly for people who's never seen it before, a new generation to be introduced to it. However, Harvey Weinstein owns complete right to that movie. He owns the movie. So Kevin Smith has nothing to do with it. He owns the movie.
Kevin Smith.
Well, Kevin Smith did it to himself. He's the one that signed the contract, said, "Here, you can have my movie," but he didn't know. I mean, what the future would lay out.
Well, and I don't want to give any credit to Harvey Weinstein, because he's obviously awful. But
disgusting prick.
That was a great move to make, honestly.
But the entire reason that he purchased it was so that it would be released.
Well, here's the thing. He's producing the movie. He knew Kevin Smith was huge, especially with the younger crowd. So he knew that if any physical media release proceeds, he would make bank off of it for years to come. I mean, as a producer, that was a genius move he made. And when you're a director and you're starving and you want your movie made and you're desperate, you will sign away your life to just get the movie made because you just want the movie made. You don't think about the future outcome of that.
Mm-hmm.
But,
well, and you don't anticipate the fact that the producer who's in charge of it is a sexual assaulting motherfucker.
And
well,
yeah, and so Smith was able to reach out to Harvey Weinstein's lawyer, make Harvey Weinstein an offer, and he originally offered $500,000 for the rights to Dogma. Weinstein refused and said, "No, I want what? No." He first initially refused, so they came back with $1 million offer. He said, "No, I want $5 million." And Kevin Smith, people think, well, Kevin Smith, if you look online, he's worth 40, 50, 60 million dollars. Why doesn't he just spend $5 million to get his movie back? Because that's not how it's done.
No.
It's like the old rule in Hollywood. You don't never spend your own money on a movie.
Bleed him dry.
Well, and not only that, but also if it is one of the few things left that Harvey Weinstein owns, why would he give that up?
Well, here's the thing. He's just being a prick. I mean, he wants
not Harvey Weinstein.
I know, a shocker.
How dare
He's wanting to do because if Kevin Smith went back to him and said, "Here, I'll give you $5 million for it," he's going to say, "Okay, I want 10 now." That's all he's going to do. He's just going to play with him.
Yeah,
because he's a dick. That's what he does. And but I do think eventually, I do think that Weinstein's going to have to give up the rights. For whatever reason, maybe to pay his lawyer bills, whatever the reason is, I think eventually he will have to give up the rights.
Agreed.
I don't know if it will go back to Kevin Smith because Paramount now owns Miramax, so it may go to
Paramount owns Miramax. I thought Disney did.
Not anymore.
Okay, my mistake.
Paramount bought Miramax because after everything with
Kevin
Weinstein,
Smith's gonna have to give up some money to get that back.
You got to understand it. After everything that happened with Weinstein, Disney doesn't want anything to do with Weinstein, and people associate Weinstein with Miramax.
Yeah. And to a certain extent, I'm pretty sure Disney doesn't want a whole lot to do with Kevin Smith either.
Especially Dogma. Do you see Disney releasing Dogma? I don't think so.
No.
So because Paramount's re-releasing a bunch of Miramax movies. Scream, Pulp Fiction's coming out. So if the rights are released, I think they're going to go to Paramount, which is great because I know Paramount will work with Smith on getting it re-released.
There hasn't been a Kevin Smith Paramount sort of collaboration, or they don't have a working relationship at all. I don't think.
He usually self-finances his own movies anyway.
Well,
just like he did with Clerks 3.
It's all been Miramax except for Mallrats, which was Universal.
Mm-hmm.
But then Smith wanted to make his Red State movie, and nobody wanted to finance that.
That's a good movie.
That's when he went on his own and started doing self-financing, and that's what he's been doing ever since.
Yeah.
After Red State, he was like, "Fuck it, I'm doing this on my own."
Well, and I was just recently looking up to see how much. And again, I'm in Canada, and I was checking to see how much Red State would be on Blu-ray. It's virtually unavailable on DVD. And Red State is like $60, $70 on Blu-ray at this point, and and again, I saw it, and I was actually rather taken by the film, but I didn't do anything about it at the time because I was naive enough to think that once it's physical media, you'll be able to get it anytime you want, anytime.
It goes out of print.
Yeah.
You go out of print, and then you try to find it on like eBay or on Amazon, and it's like $60, $70.
But I am more than willing to sort of pony up for that because I kind of feel like the physical media of today are like the comic books or baseball cards of the 90s.
Yep.
These are the things that are going to go away, and not only because they're out of print because of licensing rights, but they're absolutely going to be the movies that are like, we're not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. Why would we? I was recently looking at what the complete series of the Dukes of Hazzards would be. Simply because who's going to reprint or do anything with the General Lee? It's too
Not
offensive.
anymore.
Mill Creek would.
Fuck off. that
But
shit.
before we get into the most offensive of things, I wanted to talk about the last thing that I know that even the filmmaker wants to make into wants a Blu-ray release at least, a 4K if they could.
4K.
But Sweet Georgia Brown,
Hell yeah.
I want a Blu-ray of this.
What is it? I
This
can't
is
see.
one
Big,
of my
Scotty.
favorites.
Make you
There's too
big,
much-
Scotty.
I am a big fan of Robert Meyer Burnett. He knows it. You know it. Dogs know it. I want this.
Yeah.
Checks in the mail, Scotty. The checks in the mail. From
I'm not
R&B.
getting paid. He wouldn't pay me if he paid me.
No,
I'm gonna get him on my horse show watch.
a buddy of mine worked on that movie.
Nice.
Not Rob, but someone else worked on that movie. And I talked to him about it, and he said that, yeah, I don't know if Rob's
I'll be
brought this up or not, but he said that the producer owns everything in that movie, owns the movie
Yes.
completely.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, and he's wanting too much money for it. I don't know. I don't know if it's ever going to happen.
No,
But-
I know. No, and fair enough. And I think we're all fans of the post-geek singularity. We're fans of Robert
Yeah.
Meyer Burnett, but this is one of these, like, I'm a big fan of romantic comedies. I was a big fan of Swingers. This is a late 90s movie that sort of defined how I conducted my life. I enjoy it. It's got Shatner, and
Did
I
you see
love it.
Did you see it before you knew Rob?
Yes, I saw.
Okay.
No, I saw it on VHS. I saw it.
Okay.
It was like William Shatner.
Yeah.
I turned it on, and from the opening soundtrack, I was like, "This movie was made for me."
That's awesome.
Like, I loved it. I loved it. And when I actually had the opportunity to interact with Robert Meyer Burnett, well, you know what? I guess we're on a first name basis. I've been on
A tour.
stream with
A
him.
3-hour tour.
I've been drunk and I've said inappropriate things with the man. And I've sent dick pics. Not really. But yeah, it was one of the great honors to actually have a conversation with him because it is one of my favorite movies.
That's great.
So yeah, no, it is awesome.
Now he has all the footage, but he can't do anything with it, which sucks. Can you imagine being a director, making this movie, pour your heart and soul into a movie? You have the footage, and you can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how
No.
insanely infuriating that would be to a director? I mean,
I've
talking
had,
about-
yeah. Well, and not only that, but also, I think it's infuriating to have a fan base who loves such a thing. And knowing that there is an audience out there and being like, I can't even promote it that much. No one knows what it is. No
Yeah.
one's seen it unless you were 44 years old and you saw it because you rented it from a Blockbuster. And just being like, I would love it to be on reruns on some shitty cable channel. That would be great.
Come back.
and a director like I think
about
it's
free
been
enterprise.
on. Yeah, I think it's been on Amazon before.
It is now.
Oh, it still
Rob has
is.
always said that if he does the like a Blu-ray or 4K, that the framing is all wrong, and then the color
Well,
scheme, because it looked
that's
like
what I
as if
was-
somebody was just. I'm sorry if you already touched on it. I'm sorry. Dan.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up. Is I mean, being a filmmaker myself, if I released a movie and it's on streaming, I wouldn't want anybody to watch my movie if it's not in the correct aspect ratio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
If
what
it's
Rob
not
has always
framed
said. It's not in the right frame.
Yeah, and so I don't blame Rob for not promoting it. Go watch this on Amazon because I want to do it either. I'm like, you don't want to watch that version. You want to watch the good version. But anyways, yeah. I mean, I hope Rob will finally be able to do something with it. At least a Blu-ray.
It'd be too expensive. So
Well, if he can get the rights back and get some financing, I mean, he would be able to do it. He just needs to get the rights back. That's what he means by too expensive. Is that it's too
yeah, I
expensive
know.
to get the
Just
rights
get
back.
the rights, and yeah, he's doing it in
Yeah.
a heartbeat, but it's just too expensive for him to get the rights.
Well, and
Especially-
also, If we can't get a remastered Deep Space Nine, getting a remastered Free Enterprise is probably on the outside of town.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you'll excuse me for just one moment, I do have to Jaloja.
Jaloja.
Is that a game you play, or is that like yoga?
It can be.
Stop talking shit, Captain, or I'll put you in timeout.
All right.
And by the way, hello, Paul. Pleasure to meet you. I know the other gentleman on the panel. Always a good chat with you guys.
Hey, man, I'm leaning here because I can't read your name. Is it
Steven Ransom?
Okay. Hey, nice to meet you.
Cheers.
Netflix. He has his own YouTube channel with awesome. He always reviews video, physical media releases. He does like comparisons between Blu-rays and 4Ks. Awesome stuff. You should check him out. Subscribe to his channel. Twin Flicks, good guy.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm working
on
a
link in the chat.
It's right there in the chat. So go ahead.
That Lost Boys 4K was amazing. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm working on the comparison of these right now, the 4K of Lost Boys and the Blu-ray.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Foley.
Yeah.
Being October, what would you say is your top 3 horror movies?
Oh, you got to put me on blast? All right.
Put him on the spot, huh?
That's the way it goes. It's live. Come on.
Okay, so I want to see Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities.
Oh yeah.
Shoot. Wow.
Well, my number one is The Exorcist.
I want to see Hellraiser, right?
The new one, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not. Oh, fuck. There. I know there's a bunch. I just can't pull it out right now. But
did you see Smile?
What's that?
Did you see Smile?
Oh yeah, there's the next one. Smile.
Yeah, Smile looks pretty good.
I'll say this right now. The marketing campaign for Smile is phenomenal. Right?
Which at first concerned me.
Dude, I know, but people in like sports
oh yeah, the
arenas, dude, this is fucking amazing. And they're like, dude, that's the best way to.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I saw it last night.
I'm curious about Smile because it has Kevin Bacon's daughter in it. So,
dude, just the fact that people are doing this,
this year's been freaking banging for horror. Period.
Dude, just the fact that a marketing company would do this is fucking badass. They put people in sports. Dude, and
you're at a loss for words.
It's so good. They're like, and they smile.
Yeah, but that concerned me too because I was thinking they're putting so much into this marketing, going so hard.
It's so hardcore, dude.
I thought they were going to spoil the whole damn movie in those trailers.
Well,
honestly, I was like, I don't want to watch another trailer.
I was concerned because they're going so hard into the marketing that it's going to be a crappy movie. Because a lot of times they'll go so hard into marketing that because it's a bad movie. But I saw it last night, and it was a good movie. It was a good movie. It had legit scares in it. It wasn't. I mean, it had the same horror tropes that we've already seen before, but still,
stuff been saying it had a lot of jump scares, and I'm like, okay, I'm not a big jump scare fan, but sure.
I mean, it has some, like, when you're expecting it's going to happen type of jump scare, but overall the movie was like legit really creepy. It was I mean it was really creepy. It's worth seeing.
Awesome, dude.
She was banging for horror, man. I'm not even lying.
Now let me ask you guys a question.
Okay.
Including you, Steven. When you
Which one?
Because I
Which one?
apparently I'm a fucking.
there's
douche.
Steve and then there's Steven. So I would call Steve and then Steven.
Right. You could always use ransom too for lack of confusion.
Ransom.
Yeah.
Like Mel Gibson.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. What
Give me back my son.
What do you consider horror, and what do you consider a thriller?
Ooh, that's a
$1 million question.
amazing question. So,
Steve will go first.
I will go first. It's hard to answer.
I was asked this question, and my most disturbing horror movie that I have ever seen is Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, I don't even get. Well,
One of my favorites.
That's kind of a horror movie. You could say, yeah.
Paul,
Yeah, I mean,
can you ask me that one more time?
what do you consider a horror movie, and would you consider a thriller?
I consider horror. This is going to seem weird. Jump scare. I don't like jump scare, but jump scare. And a horror movie is intellectually fucked. Like, you know what I mean? Sorry to say, but you know.
Yeah, I would. Whoops. I would say this: like a horror movie is Halloween.
No, yeah,
That's a horror movie.
perfect. Yeah, perfect.
A thriller to me is something like a home invasion movie.
Yes, yeah.
Like
Is Funny Games a horror movie?
I consider that a thriller.
Okay.
That's what I would consider a thriller, because to me, horror is like what Steve said. It includes jump scares. It includes a monster or a creature, or when it's grounded and you involve other people that are after you. To me, that's more of a thriller than a horror movie, because a horror movie is something that actually can't really happen, but it's happening to the person you're seeing on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me give this a try too. Horror film, American Werewolf in London, thriller, Exorcist 3, Legion.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Has the rest of the panel seen Exorcist 3?
Yeah, is that the one
George
with
C. Scott?
George C. Scott? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Now, did you see the director's cut?
Yes.
Yes, I did, and
That's
I read
the only one
book
I've
as
seen.
well.
Much better.
Thriller seems to have like more of a psychological edge, even if it's the psychological tension of being pursued by somebody you don't understand why you're being pursued, or some sort of deep terror that is not visible on screen. It's just literally psychological tension continuously building, like Hans Zimmer's, cello or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
One example I can think of is Jaws. I would consider that a horror.
Oh, I always thought Jaws was an adventure.
It's a horror movie. I mean,
I think it's an adventure movie.
Even Spielberg calls it a horror movie.
That's not my problem.
I never said it was, sir.
It's director verisimilitude, I think. Isn't that directorial verisimilitude?
I don't know what that word means. Literally.
Neither do I.
Verisimilitude is fucking awesome, and I love you.
But verisimilitude, in my opinion, verisimilitude is a matter of suspending your disbelief.
Mm-hmm.
It is a matter of connecting with reality.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's why I think Jaws is a very interesting candidate for the horror category, because it is so genuinely grounded, and great white sharks are real. They really do exist.
And
so is that more of a psychological horror, because it's really out there? This could really happen to you.
To me, a psychological horror would be something that only I don't want to give it away, but a movie where only
Seven.
someone can see. Like that person, the victim, is the only one that can see it. and it's messing with them psychologically. It's messing with them, where they become unhinged.
I don't mean to jump ahead in the chat, Phil, but Hothead Studios says horror movies already has. Oh, wait, where is it? No, Edge of Time. It was Edge of Time who said the 5 elements of horror are suspense, fear, violence, gore, and the supernatural.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that, but that is specific.
Well, I mean,
That's
all in
on
all,
my future list, but there's actually a lot of horror comedies on my list coming up. So
all in all, I mean, it depends on the person. What the person, which each person thinks is a horror, what each person thinks is a thriller. I mean,
there's so many genres in horror. I mean, come on, man.
Okay,
Well,
how about
because-
Shining? Look, I think Shining is a very interesting candidate for this discussion as well, because
Easily
it doesn't
top 3.
really have jump scares, and yet it is gory, and yet it is more of a psychological thriller, in my personal opinion, because it is more of a psychological crazy story. I mean, it goes way off the rails into God knows where, cosmic horror almost. So I don't know. How would you define that one?
I would
For
say
sure a horror movie. It's one of the best ones, better ones. More,
Well-
I would say psychological for sure.
yeah, a psychological thriller is probably what I would say. I mean,
Even
it's got
if-
horror.
Even if
Yeah.
Stephen King hates it, but I mean that's irrelevant because The Shining is known as one of the best horror movies of all time. So
I mean,
But
this is when it comes down.
Oh,
Go ahead.
please.
I was going to say, this is when it comes down to nitpicking. Because to
Yeah.
me, I would say, yeah, it's a psychological thriller with horror elements. And then again,
Right.
someone would say, well, that means it's horror then. So, it just
Yeah,
depends.
it's horror
Oh, yeah.
but with psychological
wait,
elements.
wait,
right?
wait till you see
How-
my
how-
list. You'll be like, that's not a fucking horror
How do
movie.
we
I guess it is to me.
differentiate fucking awesome hardcore?
Now, let me to go along with that, Stephen. Now, has everyone seen Dr. Sleep?
Yes,
One of my favorite
fantastic
movies.
movie.
Right?
So-
Come on.
So the difference there between the Shining and Dr. Sleep. It's a sequel to The Shining, but I compare. I say they're two different types of movies.
Yes,
Mhm.
agreed.
That's
Yeah,
what I've
you're right.
heard.
So, would you
Yes.
consider Dr. Sleep more of a psychological thriller or more of a horror than The Shining?
Psychological.
I
Yep.
see it's more supernatural.
Yeah, I see Dr. Sleep as being
It's
more of
yes,
an
of course.
actual supernatural horror.
It's more
whereas-
supernatural than psychological,
I
I
love
put-
the fact that there's
especially with
this-
the Kate. Was it Kate Blanchett?
No.
No, it's
No, what's her? Oh, she's in the Bond
Ruth?
film. What's her name? She's in the Bond film.
no, she's
Have you ever done this where actors' names, but when someone asks you, you completely go blank?
Mhm.
totally.
What's her name? She was so good in
Harrison
the movie
Ford.
too.
Yeah, well, just start
Yeah.
mentioning other films that the person has been
Harrison
in. That usually jogs it loose for me.
Rebecca Ferguson.
Yeah,
Rebecca Ferguson.
Rebecca
Yeah.
Ferguson. She was fantastic in that.
Hot.
Dr. Sleep.
Oh, she was
But
amazing.
Odd tangents work too.
But I kind of put The Shining and Requiem for a Dream in the same category simply because I think that The Shining
fair.
is an allegory for alcoholism.
Yes.
Mm.
No,
And
you're
I-
not
and-
wrong, but you're not wrong.
And I think that it is delirium and withdrawal that is ultimately led to madness and murder. And I think that Requiem for a Dream is about the downfall of addiction. And
Yes.
I put them
Well,
in the
there's
same
downfall of- yeah.
category. They're both terrifying, but I don't necessarily believe in the psychological the supernatural that infuses it. Like that is part of the narrative, obviously, but I
No, I
think
get
that
that. Yep.
it is something that I'm just like, is this real or is this just because you're all effed up on goofballs?
Well, then that comes down to a discussion of like, what is the film trying to be, as opposed to what do we think is actually going on here? It's an
Well, and also
analytical
I
cut.
think both films are allegories for the falsehood of the moon landing. So I don't know.
Oh, well, thanks.
Well, now
There you
let
go.
me ask you: have you guys seen Men?
A couple.
Only recently, but not too often.
The movie
my
Men?
fan site.
The
is-
movie,
I-
man.
No, I have not. I've not
I have
seen
not.
Men. I've heard
Yeah.
it's. And you know what? I like that actress. I liked her. What was the movie that she was in that was directed by? Oh my stars! I'm going to sound like such a dum dum. The guy who wrote
Just kidding.
adaptation, Charlie Kaufman. Like the actress from Men.
Charlie Kaufman is
I think that actress is fantastic, but I have not seen Men.
Jesse Buckley.
Yeah,
Let me.
Buckley's good. That's not what we're talking about. I'm sorry.
Since you guys haven't seen Men, I won't spoil it for you, but the ending to that movie. Okay, so the beginning of, I think the first.
Okay, you can spoil it. I don't care.
Yeah, but Scotty and Steve and me.
I do.
So the first part of the movie is interesting because I consider that a psychological thriller, and if you see it, you'll know why. Then the ending of the movie, the rest of the movie, is, I think, a straight horror. But talking about allegories, I'll say this, it's one of the best movies that symbolizes grief and then acceptance of grief. And I mean, it's Alex Garland. If you're familiar with his movies,
I love Alex Garland.
I mean, Alex Garland, he goes all in on this.
Didn't he direct Event Horizon?
Yeah. No.
Oh, that's Paul.
No, that's Paul W.S. Anderson. I'm so
W.S.
stupid.
Anderson.
I'm so stupid.
No, he's only directed 2 movies outside of Men.
Philip, can we get a Scotty is stupid counter going?
I will reach through the computer and throw it.
Yes, I saw that comment and I'm like, no, don't make me block your ass. Come on.
I can be wrong. I'm allowed.
No, indeed. I was just making a funny.
I know, and it was.
That's why he's allowed on the panel next week.
Yeah.
Sorry, Paul.
Annihilation and Ex Machina.
Ex Machina.
2 movies.
Annihilation is awesome, and Ex Machina.
Now that's another thing. Like horror, a lot of people consider Annihilation a horror movie. I consider it a science fiction movie.
Me too.
Yep. I mean,
yeah. Is that the one with Natalie Portman? Just so I got my head straight.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It's the one with Natalie Portman.
Yeah. That's that is definitely a science fiction. It has horror elements only because of body horror.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that it's not spoiling anything, but the fact that it involves aliens, right there, science fiction. I wouldn't consider that horror.
Yeah. How about this one?
Alien and Alien.
Alien.
Alien. Period.
Memoirs of an Invisible Man. That is wholeheartedly a thriller. It's possible it could be like a government thriller, but the idea that there is a science fiction element that has made him invisible and he has to cope with this new form. It's a body horror kind of thing. Mm-hmm. He's throwing up because he's seeing his own stomach digest food. That one kind of like teeters. I love this discussion about the definition of horror because we're entering into, Horror-tober. And there's going to be all kinds of cinema out there discussing, does horror movies need to include murder as part of their definition?
I don't even think it doesn't. It just has to be. It doesn't even have to be scary to be considered horror. I mean, as long as it's just like.
Now, none of us has seen this movie. Shyamalan's new movie, Knock at the Cabin.
Well, that was a good trailer.
Have you seen the trailer? Have you seen the trailer?
Yeah, I have not. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I like it.
Bro, come on.
Now, little. I don't know. I'm not gonna say, because it's the gay couple. The gay couple. Oh my God, it's a gay couple.
So if you've seen the trailer, some people call it horror, other people call it thriller because it's basically a home invasion.
I think it's
right.
Yep.
Strangers, like the strangers.
Yeah.
But what was the one with Gina Carano? Isn't that a home invasion? And would that be considered a horror?
What movie is that?
Oh, dude, it's so good.
Is that the one with Bruce Greenwood?
It's a Western with Gina Carano.
Gina Carano.
I know which one you're talking about. I just can't think of the name of it. It was just released too.
Yeah. But it's a home invasion, and it's a brutal look at Western life and how it could go seriously wrong, even if you're prepared.
I'm trying to think what movie you're talking about.
But I would say Bone Tomahawk is more of a horror.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
Oh hell yeah! That one scene alone, fuck.
I'll split you in half, bitch.
And that has supernatural elements. And that
Oh,
has
you're talking
mystic-
about Terror on the Prairie?
That's the one
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Is that the
Yeah,
is that the
that's a
Daily
good
Wire movie?
dude.
Yes, it was.
Oh,
Yes, it
okay.
was.
Well, spoilers. One of the subjects that I wanted to do was movies I consider horror that others may not. And so you all are talking about, is this a horror movie? Or is this a horror movie? And so that was going to be one of
Well,
my.
I was trying to get down to
topics.
the brass tacks of it. You know, like, does a horror movie require at least bloodshed of some sort, or some sort
No.
of bodily harm or captivity or something?
No.
I think what it comes down to is if it disturbs you on any level, it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're watching
All right.
it and you're
Like
scared for
Fatal
the person-
Attraction.
Fatal Attraction is a thriller to me. But
Mhm.
if you
Okay.
I
are
watched it like 2 weeks
watching-
ago. Fantastic.
if you're watching like the main character and people are going after them, or a home invasion, your suspense is for that person you see on the screen. And so to me that's a thriller. On the other hand, a horror is something that can disturb you because you're thinking this could actually happen to me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah, it does. Totally.
Well, and again,
No.
that brings me back to why I appreciate, and I've been told many times, Requiem for a Dream is not a horror movie. And I've looked at that film and I've been.
Of course, it's not a horror movie, dude.
Thing
It's
is,
a horror
it's-
movie. It's a horror
wait,
movie because of the delusions of the old lady and
movies to
how
me
she
that have-
ends up. being
That's the fucking reason. Yeah.
Oh, well, okay,
It
Scotty, how
has to
about
do
can I
with
throw
the
Jacob's Ladder?
degeneration of. Well, Jacob's Ladder is a
Jacob's
movie.
Ladder is horror. It's definitely horror.
No, Jacob's Ladder, I think, is much more of
baby.
a. I think Jacob's Ladder is a movie that I thought was a horror until I actually saw it. I was afraid of the trailer. I had heard of it. I had read reviews of it, and people had said that it was a horror movie. And I watched it, and I found it much more to be a psychological thriller about PTSD.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
It's a spiritual
I mean,
thriller.
it's a tit for tat kind of thing. Like how it affects you. I mean, yeah, it might not consider a horror to the everyday man, or but it depends on how it affects you and your mind, and while you're watching it. If it has like a real deep impact on you, then
Well, Hothead Studio says horror movies require some kind of violence, dread, or malviolence. But does it require what Scotty is saying? Does it require any kind of dead bodies? Does someone has to die in a horror movie to be horror?
No, it doesn't have to be bloody. It doesn't have to be gory. It doesn't have to be
Okay,
Then
so
again-
every 5-10
name
minutes.
a film that you consider horror, and I'm going to point this one that's starting at Black Phillip at least, and the rest of the panel could take turns if you'd like. But name a horror movie that doesn't include bodily harm.
Sixth Sense.
Well, aren't there dead people in it?
There's bodily harm in that because
And Bruce Willis is shot in the beginning of the film.
and it shows that biker on the
let's
side of
see,
the road that's all mangled up.
Yeah, that too.
That's true.
There's carnal damage on screen, even if it's not considered fatal at the moment you see it. Like, people are injured with blood on their face.
Yeah, I mean, but
What?
isn't that
Come on.
Let's go with. Never mind. I was gonna say Jaws, but
Well,
there's blood in Jaws. So
that's
what about the Brie Larson film Room?
ooh,
that's not
where-
horror.
Well, but that is a woman who is captured, raped. Pardon me for the algorithm.
Whoa.
And then
Shit,
she is
R-word,
forced
uh-oh.
to give birth, and then she is held captive for 10 years. And
That's
then
still
released.
bodily harm, though, isn't it?
Well, but no death.
Okay.
Well,
Right.
you can't
no.
really say. I'm sorry, you can't really say bodily harm because that's every movie. Every movie has some kind of bodily harm.
Right,
Yeah.
that would include action movies.
I
But
mean,
I'm saying
even-
a film that is called a horror movie
Yeah,
on its face value. It's on the bookshelf in horror, but it
No, you
does not
can't name one that
contain
doesn't-
bodily
no.
harm.
every horror movie does some
Man,
kind of.
you're really making me
bodily
want to do
harm.
that list of movies I consider horror.
Are you referring to movies that I had to sit through and I didn't
Right.
Yeah.
No, they have to be on
That's
the
not a
bookshelf,
bad-
Scotty. On the
I'm gonna-
bookshelf, in horror, at the bookstore.
No, I got nothing.
No,
I want to
think
do I might want to do a bonus video now because movies that I
mean-
consider horror. So
when you
Well,
think
you have
great
an
topic.
entire week.
like what Hothead said, that when you think of horror, what comes to mind? Bodily harm, some kind of murder, something horrific happening. And
Murder,
when you think of-
violence, death.
And when you think of horrific happening, that means bodily harm or
Right. Yeah, I think it's a carnal thing. I think horror is
like
definitely
black-
defined by a carnal instinct to protect yourself from harm.
It's like well, Scotty's talking about Requiem for a Dream, but what about another Darren Aronofsky film, Black Swan? That's to me, that's whole. That could be considered
yeah.
a horror movie too.
That's really good. I do think it teeters into Shining territory and as well
Right.
as Jacob's Ladder territory because most of it's happening in between her ears.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to
Mhm.
say that she's crazy. So it's more of a psychological thriller than horror.
But
Yeah.
she
But
does
I would
mutilate
always-
herself on screen.
But then again, it goes back to what do you consider horror? Because to somebody that may have issues like
You're
that,
making me
they
want to
would
do that list
consider
now.
that
Movies I
horrific
consider horror.
horror. So, I mean, it's kind of
Subjective?
yeah,
Yeah.
subjective.
Yeah, horror is
of what
definitely
you-
one of the more
what you consider horror.
subjective genres out there.
Like I have a movie here, I Spit on Your Grave.
Yeah.
Some people consider that
Oh, yeah.
horror.
torture porn, original
I-
torture porn movie.
Some people consider that horror. I consider it a thriller.
Me too.
So it just depends on the person.
It's like
Okay.
tomato type of situation.
I personally do not think that films like Centipede or even the ones where everybody's trapped and they have to cut their arm off, basically. What were those
Saw, you're
called?
talking about like the Saw movies.
The Saw movies. I don't consider those horror movies. Those are body
Ooh.
porn. They're gore
torture
porn.
porn. Torture porn.
Yeah.
They're called torture porn.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's almost a new genre at this
Torture
point.
porn.
Well, the one
Which
that's,
I don't agree with. Even James Wan hated that term. So,
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean,
and he started it all with Saw. So when he hates that
well,
term.
Hostel, I think, started it. Because-
yeah, it was Hostile. I like the first Hostile. The Hostile part 2 is stupid.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
You wanna
I'll
switch
come
to
Because it
Subject
makes you
on something else?
squirm more than flinch.
Yeah, true. Well, it's because it's uncomfortable. You don't want to see someone gnawing their hand off to escape a trap.
And
Yeah.
yet you bought popcorn for $20. So
It's
you know.
like it's an hour and 20
I
minute.
didn't buy.
It's an hour and 20-minute thrill ride. That's why people go see them.
yeah. It's an adrenaline rush to see something like that happen on screen, I guess.
Yeah. You want to switch the subject to something else now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well
mean-
played, sir. Well played.
We can go on. The problem is, like, we can go on for another 2 hours probably talking about the same thing.
I don't have any problem with that. I've just come off of 3 other streams and I did an 11-hour one yesterday. So have
yeah.
at.
I can't do those long hour ones. Well,
Well, Scotty, let's toss the ball at you. Any other new subjects? What's going on in the realms of Scotty world?
Well, I'm intrigued by what you said about Memoirs of an Invisible Man. Apparently, it's actually rather cost effective on Blu-ray, so I'm looking forward to ordering that.
Oh,
Um,
probably one of Chevy Chase's most realistic performances as an actor.
Yes.
have you ever you've seen it, Scotty?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no, I like John Carpenter, and I like his. Actually, I was asked recently in a chat that I'm a part of by Cinemagulp. What is one of your favorite John Carpenter films that is sort of off of the beaten trail? I said Starman, but Memoirs of an Invisible Man is a good one.
Yeah, I barely remember. Every time I think of the movie, I think more of Chevy Chase than John Carpenter. I
yeah,
even
but
think
what
more
about
of
Sam Neill?
Yeah, exactly. It's almost an
Neill.
introduction from him. Right?
And it was early on. It was I think it was pre Jurassic Park.
Oh,
Well,
definitely pre Jurassic Park.
Well,
I was
when
thinking
did
more like
Jurassic
is
Park
it
came out, what,
pre,
94?
how
93.
Minds of Madness.
3.
How early really is it for Sam?
Mouth of Madness.
His-
I'm
So right here, this movie was in 81, and Sam Neill stars in Possession.
Okay.
Nice.
And he was in Nicole Kidman's first feature film, Dead Calm.
Dead Calm with Mickey
And-
Rourke.
No,
Yeah.
No,
Billy Zane.
Billy Zane.
yeah, it
Why
came
did
out-
I
Zane.
get Billy Zane?
Oh
and
my
Mickey
God! Can
Rourke
somebody
mixed
do
up?
a retrospective on Billy Zane? Jesus,
No.
for heaven to Murgatroyd, so many movies that man touched as an
Right.
actor.
I was watching. Wait, we're talking about Demon Knight. What?
Yeah, no, we're talking
Oh, I'd
about
love
think
to see
about
Demon
the-
Knight.
some good
The
shit.
Phantom
It's on one of my lists.
Titanic and Back to the Future. Even he's all over the map. Billy
Back to
Zane
the Future Part 2.
One of my first man crushes. If you're not.
Billy Zane? Seriously?
Man, it's gorgeous.
It was that purple.
Yeah,
He
it
is
is
lovely.
true, Black Phillip. I completely agree with you. It's in a classic sense, like old school movies. Like he should be in sepia all the time.
I know, right?
Well, there's and
wasn't
that's,
that
Are we allowed to not have man crushes or what, man? Come on.
Philip? It was that tight purple phantom suit that got you.
Exactly.
Yep.
That little moose knuckle, come on.
It's all, it's all
I don't
about
know
the
if you guys
purple
can see
around here.
this. I don't know if you guys
I
can
know,
see
right? You got Scotty with the purple on right now, too, man.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys
fire.
can see this, but my brother was
Lean a little closer to the camera.
When we make you
Scotty.
big, when we make you big.
my brother was hired to shoot a couple promo spots for a new meal program that someone was making in Philadelphia. He went to Philadelphia, and guess who he's shooting for? I don't know if you can see it.
I made you
my.
big.
Nice.
I cannot. Hey, it's Terry Crews.
Hey, Terry Crews.
Wow, that's amazing. That photograph
And-
almost looks three-dimensional. That was weird. Anyway,
And the mountain from Game of Thrones.
Nice.
They are putting together a nutritional meal program, and my brother was hired to shoot their promos for it.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
That is incredible. Now I'm not very much familiar with the cast of Game of Thrones. I'm not much of a fantasy man myself. I apologize, but don't.
Why either?
But with Terry Crews, what a versatile actor. One of my favorite performances of his was from the, I believe, Aaron Sorkin written television show, The Newsroom. He was outstanding as in that
Pretty
film or
diverse.
in that show as the bodyguard for Will McAvoy, played by Jeff Daniels.
Yeah, he can. He's one of those actors that can do it all. He can do comedy, drama, action.
Comancho from Idiocracy.
He's the president.
That was a great movie.
Idiocracy.
Like, there's so many things he does, and I don't think he's underrated because everyone knows who he is when he shows up. Like, even he's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and then when he shows up as an action guy, it's just like bitching.
Well, he was in
the Expendable movies. He's in
I was
the
gonna
White
say,
Chick.
one of the
White
Expendables.
Chicks. He's in
Walking
he's in
away
the
downtown.
Anna Sandler movies, like Blended and Longest Yard. He does everything, man.
Well, and to go to the absolute opposite end of the spectrum, what are some of your favorite comedies?
Airplane, Top Secret, Hot Shots Part 2, Mafia.
So you're a
Parody guy.
Zaz.
he's ready to go.
Zucker,
he is
Abrams,
BuzzFeed
Zucker.
ready all the
I
time.
love Zucker, Abrams, Zucker. That they are.
Top Secret is actually hilarious.
I'll tell you that me and my brother Simon, we grew up on those movies, and they inspired us to be filmmakers. And even though we have
fucking awesome, man.
and you look at other movies that are parodies, they're never done right.
Right.
Like the Zucker brothers,
idiots,
Tim
Seltzer
Abrahams had a certain knack for getting down the parody right.
Right.
All these other ones, like the Epic Movie and crap like that, they're not funny because they're not done right. They just put crap on the screen thinking it'll make people laugh. but there's no context to the humor.
Right.
And in their movies, there's context to the humor that's relatable to the audience.
Yeah, to me, like the last really good parody movie was a 9/11 movie.
See,
I like that.
Which
I saw that. I saw that in theater.
Which has Chris Evans, Captain America.
The movie was really good, and see, they did what Abrams and Zucker brothers used to do. Is they did it right, and that's why the movie worked. And then you look at
is Hot Fuzz kind of considered like a parody movie, like of the action genre?
I kind of feel like any of the Edgar Wright Cornetto trilogy, they are comedies. They are to a certain level parodies, but I think the best way to describe them is that they are comedic pastiche.
So they're like
well, aren't you all fancy?
I know. As soon as I said pastiche, I was like, someone's gonna call me gay.
When you said pastiche, I thought after you said that, you were going to turn around and take a sip of wine.
No, I am drinking PBR, so I am very low class. I'm very lowbrow.
I'm old school with my comedy. Mad World.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like those comedies were absolutely fantastic, and then Young Frankenstein, of course.
Of course.
Mel Brooks. Yeah.
Oh hell yeah,
Frankenstein. And I consider that some of his best comedy because I love
Steve.
It's as strong a parody as Airplane. It takes on the whole parody.
Steve doesn't like parrot or comedy.
He's allergic to the other Stevens.
Steve is allergic to comedy. No, Stephen, I agree with you, and I mean it's like Mel Brooks did the same thing like Zucker Brothers has done. It's one of those things where either you have it or you don't, and we see what happens when you don't have it, and then we see what happens when you do have it. Mel Brooks, I mean, Blazing Saddles, a spoof on
Blazing Saddles. Yeah, he made fun of Star Wars of all movies.
Spaceballs. I mean, Young Frankenstein is a goof on old classic Universal movies. I mean,
he would make fun of the popular genres. That's what Mel Brooks.
Now, did he do Silent Movie, or was that Carl Reiner?
No, that was
Mel Brooks. Yes,
Mel Brooks.
Gene Wilder nails Young Frankenstein for me because I'm a huge Willy Wonka fan. So that just does it.
Gene Wilder is one of my favorite actors. I mean, he's
what is it? The Best Lover Ever or something? What's the movie he did? That is prime Gene Wilder. He is the sexiest man on earth in that film. He's just unbelievable.
But in that movie is so bittersweet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like it's
my favorite
funny,
year.
but it's tragic along the way.
Now another movie that tried to do a spoof that didn't do it right was Johnny Handsome. Is it Johnny Handsome with Mike Keaton in like
Johnny Dangerously?
Johnny Dangerously. Johnny Handsome was a movie.
That one didn't work either.
Even more.
Yeah.
Joe, what's his name?
Piscopo.
Joe Piscopo.
Joe Piscopo.
And
Piscopo. That's a lovely name.
Joe Piscopo is in one of my favorite episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation, The Outrageous O'Connor. So get off his back.
Sorry.
Saying it's a shame. I'm saying it's a shame that movie didn't work out for him because he was on a roll at that point. And if that film had blown up for him like Wayne's World,
Shinga to Peach.
Johnny Dangerously is on the same level, I think, in terms of recreation. That's like Robin and his Seven Hoods. that is a classic.
You have a soft spot for Robin Hood Men in Tights. So.
No. You know what? I've never even seen Robin Hood and Men in Tights.
Watch it. It's hilarious.
Hey, Carol's here. Hey,
Carol. What's up, Carol?
Did you guys? Oh, go ahead, Scott.
Oh no, I appreciate what Johnny Dangerously was doing because I think it had and also it had a theme song by Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah, Weird Al.
But there was something about it, and if you were to ask me which is better,
Oh,
Top
Steve
secret.
Foley.
If it's top
Steve
secret or
Foley has
Johnny
your picture.
Dangerously, I would. Well,
That's
no, I
adorable.
know he knows
That's
how to look.
adorable.
He knows how to be good looking,
I was like, oh,
That's adorable.
he does love you.
and I love him. I love him. I love Lamp.
We
Yeah,
love
I-
you long time.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. I just saw that. I'm like, oh.
But no, it's sort of. Did you remember? Oh, what was that movie with John Cleese and John Lovitz, and they go. What is it? Rat Race.
Oh,
And
Rat
I
Race.
think that's
Oh my
a
God.
Zucker film, not a
Yeah.
not a Zaz film, but it was a Zucker film,
Oh,
and
No.
that was a callback to It's a Mad World.
mad world.
Essentially, it was a remake.
Essentially, and obviously the original
Yeah,
was better.
Oh,
They just made it shorter the second time.
oh, you're a fucking badass.
Thanks. Thanks for advertising me, Steve. You're a lovely, lovely boy.
I apologize, but he.
What about
It's
what
a
about
re-
Stir
Dylan's here?
Crazy? What about Stir Crazy? Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines, Chicago
Well,
PD.
No, that's running scared.
Running
Which is a
Scared,
great
sorry.
movie.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Is that a
great
comedy
movie.
or an action film? I don't even know if
Yes.
it knows.
I don't even know.
Comedy, action comedy.
Well, that's kind of like saying Midnight Run. Is that a comedy or action? It's
Yes.
both.
Yeah.
I mean,
both.
Now,
Honey,
Steve
I Shrunk the
Martin,
Kids. How about that franchise?
Family.
Steve Martin of Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid.
Oh,
Love that
yes.
movie.
Such a
Yeah.
great movie. Very underrated. I've come to learn is I don't know very many people who've seen that movie.
One of my favorite jokes comes from that movie, and I apologize for accentuating the word comes. But no, there is a moment in that movie where he is where Steve
Nobody's
Martin
watching.
is
Don't worry.
interspersed. Yeah. But also, thank you to the lurkers, and if you are watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, please. We're all really excited that you're here, and please comment. Edge of Time. Dave's not
Edge
here.
of
Well,
Time.
fuck you, Dave. So no, but that is one of those things where there was a thing where Steve Martin is intercut with another person,
Sure
and
he
I
is.
forget the classical footage of it, and it is a very serious scene, and he's like, I don't want you to talk to my daughter. I don't want you to see my daughter. I don't want you to even be on the same block as my daughter. And then you cut immediately to Steve Martin, and he's like, can I make soup out of her panties?
Yes.
And it is one of the dirtiest jokes I have ever heard, and I always laugh when I
And
hear
what's-
it. And it's like, you could never.
Well, not today. I mean, but what's interesting too is that was a Carl Reiner comedy, low budget. But think about the I lost a word, but this isn't the word I'm thinking of. But basically, how inventive that was at the time that they were able to splice Steve Martin in with old gangster footage from older movies. I mean, that was for a comedy. That was revolutionary at the time.
They went
And,
full black and white, and I
yeah.
think that's always a good choice when it's appropriate.
Well, and also they think about this is like when they're making the movie and putting the scenes together, they have to color time the black and white footage of Steve Martin to match the black and white of the original of the classic older movie. That is not easy to do. I mean, that is almost painstakingly hard to do to match the color timing like that. And so it's just like it's amazing how well that movie turned out.
Well, but also, and obviously you've seen it, Paul. The third act does fall apart.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
I
it
still
is
like-
such a great build-up. The entire movie is great until the very end.
yeah. I mean, when I don't know when what do you think happens? Who's there? What?
It's been a long time since I've seen it, so but I remember watching it and loving it, and then being. Meh.
Yeah.
No, let me ask.
Scotty.
Let me ask. Since Steve Foley hasn't talked for a while, let me ask you: when movies end like that, where it just kind of completely falls apart, or it just kind of ends and you're like, okay, build up to nothing? What do you think happens? Why do you think it ends? A movie would end like that?
Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand why it does that. But
I mean, obviously, when you write out the script, you're not intending a movie to end and just fall apart like that. It's not intentional. So, what do you think happens during the production, or even during the editing, that makes it do that? That where films can do that?
I'm not 100% sure. But I think what happens is when we're talking about fuck, you know, it's hardcore. Hold on. So
I keep putting you on the spot. Sorry.
I know you have.
I know, right? Not putting him on the spot. All right, good practice for next week.
What is it? But no, it's a really good question. What is it that makes a movie fall apart in the third act?
It's hard because somebody who has written something that sucks, maybe, and somebody that you guys are like, hey, what are you gonna do when this fucking? I don't. Okay, so.
I think it's when a set of keys is jingled in the first act, they damn well better have something to do with the third. Otherwise, you're done for.
Yeah. So
Touche.
Yeah, touche.
I'm back. By the way, I was just doing behind the scenes stuff.
That goes. I mean, that kind of goes back to Chekhov's gun, where you see a gun in the first act, it has to be used in the third act.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, if you see a girl and you see a boy in the first act, they better have something to do with each other. Otherwise, there's going to be trouble.
I'll tell you what.
Well, and I don't like a comedic Deus Ex Machina, where it's just that
there's certain movies it shouldn't be comedies. Trying to be something else. That's what I never agree with.
So, dude, I apologize because I couldn't do what you asked, but I'll
put
tell
him
you
on the spot. Yeah, put it on the spot. Don't worry about that.
Well, I guess when you think about it like this, I mean, there's so much that goes into a production. I mean,
what I can tell you is I've written a novel, and if you want to read it, great. Sure. If not, fuck you.
Now it's
that is exactly my first novel. That's what the back copy says. That's what it says on the back of the book. It says, I wrote a book. If you don't want to read it, fuck you. And it sold like 7 copies.
Like, fuck you, pay me. It'll be like, fuck, it'll put that on the cover. Fuck you, pay me. Fuck you, pay me.
let me interject here. Hot Head Studios makes a point. Pacing is always overlooked in most movies. Mm-hmm. Now,
especially
that is a very true statement. And the problem that I've seen working on productions myself is that a lot of times the director or whoever ends out focusing on one aspect of the movie while the other aspect suffers.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And it takes like a James Cameron or a Spielberg to really keep everything in focus and I think that's one reason why movies can fall apart like that, is that they start losing focus on the movie.
Yeah, Titanic, I think, is an excellent example because you're literally on a sinking ship. You better save this movie. You know what I mean? They follow through with the romance. And
I thought you meant that. I thought you meant that was an example of a movie that falls apart. I'm like, what?
No, that doesn't fall apart.
That didn't work.
It's the one that gets it. Because you brought up James Cameron, and I agree. He knows how to keep a film in focus, considering some of the topics he's tried to handle. He's able to keep it in focus, and Titanic is I think a good metaphor as an example too.
Yeah, and it can also be, a movie.
We even know the end too. Like we know the end of the movie, right? This better be a good flick.
But here's the thing, that's the genius of the movie is, we know the end of the movie. We know that the Titanic sinks. We know all these people die.
What?
But I'm sorry for spoiling the ending for you, man.
Oh, the
Sorry
ship
for spoiling the
sinks.
ending.
I'm so sorry. The ship sinks at the end.
But
Damn
here's
it.
the brilliant decision that James Cameron made is that he had those two romantic leads, and you don't know what happens to them.
Right.
And that's what keeps you engaged through the end is, are they going to make it
personal,
or not?
damn it.
And and that's what makes that movie so good, because if you didn't have the romance, the love story, it's just a movie about a boat sinking.
Yeah.
And
I hate
Go ahead, Scotty.
I hate to bring up a quantum leap analogy, but
You're going.
Nerd shit. He goes nerd shit.
in the first episode of Quantum Leap, Sam leaps into a test pilot and then leaps into a baseball player, and he has to go and like win a baseball game. And then Al shows up. He's a hologram from the future who is trying to guide Sam through the situation. But Al wants to watch the baseball game. And Sam is sitting there and he's like, what's going on? Like, what am I supposed to do? And it's like, you're just supposed to go and pop out and it'll be fine. And then you'll leap. It'll be fine. Everything is just going to work out as long as you swing the bat. And if you pop out, you're going to be fine. And Sam is like, well, okay. And he's like, okay. Al says, I'm going to go watch the baseball game. You'll be up in a second. I'm going to go watch the baseball game. And Sam says, why are you going to watch the baseball game? And he's like, well, I want to go see the game because I got to go back there's a party going on in the future. And I'm going to go and hopefully, if everything works out properly, I'm going to take this girl into the supply closet and we're going to do the sex.
He does not say that.
He says something along those
he
lines.
doesn't say do the sex.
He does not say I'm going to do the sex, but he says, we're going to go in there and we're going to make whoopee. It's late 80s vernacular for making
You're
love.
going to do the sex.
And so Sam is sitting there and he's like, well, but you know how this baseball game is going to end. Why do you want to watch it? And Al says, I know what's going to happen when I take Kate into the copy room. But that doesn't mean that I don't want to go. It doesn't matter if you know what is going to happen. The fact that it's going to happen, it's the pursuit that makes it good.
Well, and also because I was surprised. Back when it came out, I knew I had friends that didn't really even know about Titanic. So for people it was great because for people who didn't really understand or know the history of Titanic, but then saw it, but then also the people that do know Titanic and know the history, they have that love story they can hold on to, attach to, and so it's like Cameron.
Heck, there is a gravestone in Newfoundland in Canada that has a Jack Dawson who died, and everyone goes there. And they are marveling over Jack Dawson as an actual character. It's just a coincidence.
There was room on that damn door. What the hell was it? A door, a panel?
Oh, it's not about the door or how much room there was to save Jack. It is about the sacrifice.
Actually, when you think about it, if Jack got on there,
proved it.
I thought they proved it, but then they also disproved how it couldn't work. I thought they did both sides of it.
They did it from both sides of it,
Yeah, but
what couldn't work?
So
if Jack got on the door with
Jack could have still gotten on that door.
But the thing is that
it was with Rose.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean,
it doesn't.
It's all about the gem anyway.
First of all, for a good storytelling, you had to have had one of them die, and you're not going to kill off Rose as the girl character. You're going to kill off the guy, and when he first tried to get on the door, it started to tip over. That's why he got off, because
there was a demonstration definitely on screen of him trying to get on the door, and he's like, no, that's not going to work.
Yeah, so it's not like he didn't try. So it bugs me when people bring that up, because it's like it showed it in the movie he tried, but it was about to tip over, and he's not going to risk killing Rose. He's going to sacrifice himself for the person he loves.
Right. He wants her completely on that door, because even if her feet get in there, they could freeze to death.
Just spoon her. Come on, man.
Well, no, the possibility of him tipping that door was more important. It was like, I'm not going to sacrifice Rose. That was part of it. He saved her several times throughout the movie. She saved him several times throughout the movie. That was the ultimate sacrifice. That is why, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon, and for the rest of your life. I was really taken by the William Friedkin analysis of it, and saying that Titanic is the modern Casablanca.
Yeah.
It is a matter of sacrifice to ensure the joy and happiness of the woman that you love. If you want to call that misogynistic, go ahead.
And going back to Philip, where he was saying, well, he could just spoon with her on the door. Well, when he tried to get up there,
still get some.
The side of the door started filling up with water. So if he went on there, he would have been in a puddle of water and probably would have froze to death from being in a puddle of water, because how cold it was.
And once that door goes completely under, it's over. That door's going all the way to the bottom of the ocean after it goes under the water.
Yeah, like Scotty said, to him, you had a 50-50 chance. Why risk it? It's too great of a chance to risk. And
so you're saying Kate Winslet is a fat ass?
I like a thick lady.
Oh,
but also
fat.
But my thing is that if you're going to sit there, if you are a person who is going
being facetious, I'm sorry.
No, and I appreciate the facetiousness. I'm not arguing with you.
I used a big word.
No, I appreciate it. And also, facetious is one of the few words in the English language that has all of the vowels in order. A-E-I-O-U. But I'm just saying, like, if you want to say, why didn't he get on the door to try and save himself? Well, then I would ask, why didn't he just sit back, smoke a cigarette, and say, holy crap, there's a chick who's about to jump. I can't wait to see what happens.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
he
it's
got
about
on the other
love.
side of the rail.
It's about
with
emotion.
He got on the other side of the rail with her, didn't he?
Well, but he didn't have to.
No, wait, he didn't get. Did he get on the other side?
Yeah,
I think he joined her on the other side to
he
take
threatened
her out of it.
and then she said, "Don't do that."
No, because he was looking down in the water and saying, water like that cold, and he went, it'll feel like 1,000 knives stabbing you at once, and then he held out his hand, and then she took it, and
but wasn't that the origination of you jump, I jump?
Yeah. Well, basically,
like their initial when he's trying to talk her out of it, it's like you jump, I jump.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it came. That's how he got her off the edge, is by saying, "Well, if you go down there, then I'm going to have to go with you, and then we'll both die."
And that's when Chancellor Gorkin showed up and messed everything up.
Yeah.
Get that.
It's a Star Trek thing, I know.
Yeah, he was the worst, man. That character.
Oh
that
no,
guy
he was awesome.
Despicable. What a despicable
but he was
character.
Best manservant ever. I would hire him.
Yeah, right. But yeah.
Oh,
kudos to him.
I thought you were saying Chancellor Gorkin was the worst character ever.
No. I don't even remember David Warner's name in that.
But he played David Warner Ripper in
Carol.
Time After Time.
Yes. Yep. That's such a good one of my favorite movies. That's so much fun, that movie. It's like early steampunk. It's steampunk before steampunk.
What movie?
Carol said.
Oh, Time After Time.
I'm gonna push off the damn
Time After Time?
Yeah.
Did I tell you? I don't know if Scotty, if you know this, or but
Scotty knows nothing.
I interviewed Nicholas Meyer.
Nice.
He is.
I know that.
I've interviewed a ton of different people, and but he's the one I've always wanted to interview. And I'll say this: it is the worst interview that I've ever had with well, I guess not a celebrity, but a director.
Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Well, our show is a movie channel. So when someone comes on to do an interview, you're obviously going to talk about your movies, right? He acted very irritated when every time I brought up Star Trek 2 or Star Trek 6 or his other movies. It's kind of like he got irritated where he didn't want to talk about that. And he kept trying to turn the conversation around to his novels that he wrote.
Yes.
And which, I mean, I guess I can understand that. On one hand, I can understand that, he's asked every day about Star Trek 2, Star Trek 6. So I guess I can understand that you get tired of it and you want to talk about something else. And so, yeah, I mean, I talked about his novels too. But then I wanted to turn around because people who's watching the interview want to hear about Star Trek 2, And so he would just give these very one note answers.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I would try to press him on a couple things, he would just act so irritated about it, like annoyed with it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was just, and I don't know what the right word is, but when you meet somebody who thinks they're smarter than you and they like to make you feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what the term would be, what the word would be.
Sense of superiority?
I guess so.
I don't know. I don't want to put words in your or his.
At ground level, it's bullying.
Well, I want to say bullying is kind of a strong word, but
True.
I guess, yeah. What you're saying, like a sense of superiority, like, which is true. I'm not a university professor. I'm not a college graduate. He is. So yeah, but the way he would talk about things and answer questions was kind of like, is demeaning the right word? Kind of like,
could be. I'd have to watch
condescending.
It's still on your channel, I assume?
No.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah, I took it down, but
what did I miss?
It was, yeah, condescending is the right word. It was like,
more importantly, did it change your policy here on out? Like after that interview, did you change your policy? Like, I need to talk to these people before they come on, or at least
I always do.
Agree to things before they come on. Like, are we not supposed to talk about your movies?
I have the same attitude about Scotty.
I've been interviewing celebrities and filmmakers for 20 plus years now. Okay. And I mean, that's what I do. I'll if I can't talk to them personally, I talk to their manager or assistant, and we spend probably 2-3 weeks talking back and forth through email, on the phone, calling, texting, whatever. And I even send them a outline of questions I want to ask. So yeah, I mean, Douglas Meyer, though he didn't have his manager assistant, I actually spoke to him personally on the phone, and he was great on the phone. And I asked him, I said, I'm going to go ahead and write down an outline of questions I want to ask you and viewers want to know. I'll email it to you. And he's like, no, you don't need to do that. Let's just wing it. We'll do good. I was like, all right. So yeah, he was well aware. I mean, and he knew what kind of channel it was. I sent him the link to our channel. He knew what kind of channel it was. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean,
two things.
Go ahead.
First thing, I remember one of my favorite television interviews that I was never a part of. I watched it on YouTube. I watched it on TV. And it was between Craig Ferguson and Harrison Ford. And the entire time they talked about airplanes and flying, because they both had airplane, they were pilots, and they just talked about airplanes. And Harrison Ford, at a certain point during the interview, looked at the audience, looked at the camera, and was like, aren't we supposed to be talking to these people? And Craig Ferguson was like, forget about them.
Craig Ferguson.
Forget it. It doesn't matter what they want. Let's talk about what we want to talk about. And it was a really great interview. Okay, so that leads me into...
Look who's here. Look who's here.
Hey, it's Slack Cat. Hey, Cat.
It's Cat. She's on my screen.
I have only talked to one Star Trek person in any length, and that was I talked to a person who signed this box.
I can't see it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let me make you big, Scotty.
Make me big.
That's what she said.
This
Thanks,
is
Scott.
like it's a box, and I bought it because I thought I could put my weed in it. Anyway,
Weed box in the damn Star Trek.
so it was signed by Terry Farrell,
Okay.
She's hot. She's hot.
Lieutenant Jadzia Dax, and I stepped up with my box, and I said, "Hi, big fan, loved you on Deep Space Nine. Will you sign my box?" And she said, "I would be delighted to sign your box." And I said, "Well, that sounds dirty."
Yeah,
And she
clip.
said, "Only because you're making it that way." And I was like, "You're absolutely right. I'm sorry." How are you? And she's like, "I'm fine." And so she signed it, and I was about to walk away, and then other people were taking pictures from behind me in the line, and she like ape shitted out, and she was like, "Don't you take pictures? I'm having a conversation." And I was like, "Well, I better do something." So I said, "You know what? First things first. I don't understand why you weren't in the montage at the end of Deep Space Nine. Why did that happen?" And this was before What We Left Behind, which was the documentary about Deep Space Nine. And she was like, "You'd have to talk to the producers." And I was like, "Okay, fine." You know what I really enjoyed though is once you left Deep Space Nine, I always enjoyed the television show Becker with you and Ted Danson. Her
Nice.
eyes lit up. She absolutely, after ages and ages of people being like, "Oh, you're a Trill. Oh, what was the makeup like?" Once we got to talk about something that was not Star Trek, she adored it. We talked for about 10 minutes about production, acting, auditioning, everything. And she was genuinely engaged, and I was not a fanboy for the first time in my life. And I was having a conversation with a nice lady named Terry.
A very nice lady, actually.
And we joked, and I was like, "You know what? I've taken up enough of your time." She had been angry at the people behind me. I was dressed up like Brody from Mallrats. So she didn't like I wasn't ostentatious in Star Trek fandom. And as I walked away, she was like, "Okay, you know what? You remind me of Tom Bergeron." And I was like, "Is that a compliment?" And she was like, "Well, he has a nice body." And I was like, "Okay. I'll see you later." And it was the greatest thing. But and the only reason I bring it up is because like from that moment, and even before that moment, when I become a fan of someone, I want to talk to them about something that no one talks to them about. Like if I met William Shatner, I would probably talk to him about Free Enterprise, T.J. Hooker, Denny Crane. Like, I wouldn't go on. And I'm not saying that this is, like, I would absolutely, if I had the opportunity to talk to Nicholas Meyer, my first go-to would be Wrath of Khan. And as soon as he was Kurt, I would be like, "So what was it like working with Malcolm McDowell on Time After Time? What the hell is the 7% solution? What the hell?"
Yeah, I mean, that is 100% true. And I don't know if you've seen any of my other interviews, but I mean, it made it sound like that's all I ever talked about. But I actually started out talking to him about his family and talking to him about his wife, because his wife passed a few years ago. And our dad passed last year. And so we kind of had that in connection. In fact, he had a painting behind him of his wife, his daughter, and him. And so I asked him about that painting. And so I've learned, in all the times I've interviewed people, I've learned that, like what you said, if someone's in a Star Trek show that's gone on for 10 years and they go and they're being interviewed, they're asked the same question over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. And I put myself in their shoes. I'm like, okay, if someone came and asked me over and over and over and over again, why do you wear those type of glasses in that movie? And I'll be like, who cares? Don't you have any better questions to ask? And
I don't know. The prop department gave them to me.
Yeah. And so that I always what I do is I go back and forth. And so I'll talk about family. I'll talk about other things they do. Like I did an interview with Fabian Wagner, who was a cinematographer, Zack Snyder's cinematographer. He was a cinematographer on Game of Thrones. And I know in the middle of the conversation, I noticed he had a guitar sitting on against the wall behind him. And in the middle of the interview, in the middle of him talking about Game of Thrones, I just said, sorry, just don't mean to interject real quick, but I see a guitar behind you. Do you play guitar? How long have you played? And we went on about 10 minutes talking about guitar. And, and I said, I have no musical talent whatsoever and except listening to music. And he, laughed and it was, good conversation. And so with Nicholas Meyer, again, that's what I would do. But he knew that the thing is that he knew what I wanted to talk about. Mm-hmm. And I told him, our viewers, they want to know about Star Trek II, Star Trek VI. They want to know about Time After Time, the Day After. And
that's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good movie.
And so he knew. I mean, he knew. So what I would do is periodically go back and forth between, and between subjects. And
didn't he do that one with the Donald Sutherland and what's her name? Where there's that myth that they were actually during their sex scenes and it was actually them getting it on.
Don't look now.
Yeah, don't look now.
No, he didn't do that.
Oh, that's Nicholas Rogue. I'm sorry. My apologies.
And, you're forgiven. And
thank you.
Yeah. But so and I talked to a couple of the people that I know that know him, and they said that that's how he is. That he doesn't like talking about his films or his movies. And my question is, well, then why did he agree to be on the show when he knew that's what we were going to talk about? But whatever. I mean, it was still fun to talk to him. It was great to talk to him. It was about an hour and 20-minute interview. So it's not like he got fed up and ended it. So I still have the interview.
I'd love to see it if it's something that you would share.
Never delete your even worse videos. Keep them. I had my first video on my channel. It sucked.
I think everybody's first video on their channel sucked. But yeah,
mine was awesome.
Now
it won numerous awards.
Yes, my first video was the best video I've ever made.
To this day,
make shorts.
No, and I don't mean to diminish or demean. I don't mean to make light. But it's just one of those things where and it's something that I'm intimidated so much by interviewing or talking, not even interviewing, but just talking with someone who is expecting almost like a press junket. It's like, so what was it like working with such and such? And they've heard it so many times, and it's like, so I don't know, what's your favorite pudding?
Well, it's like, I'll tell you, we're working in the business, and, I've worked with actors, I've worked with directors. Obviously. So I kind of know their mentality, how they think. And some of them love to talk about themselves with the projects they've done, and others don't. It just depends. Just a second here, I'm trying to look up something because I forgot what the movie's called. But I always try to find a movie that's very underrated or obscure that they did, and always bring that up, because I've learned, like what you said with her. You mentioned Becker, and she lit up, and she talked to you, and so I've learned that when you and don't just go on IMDb and say, oh, let's see, I wonder what their first movie was. Oh, okay. Watch the movie.
Okay, Carol.
And
yeah.
And so that's what I've learned. And I took a break from doing interviews, and then when the pandemic hit, I took advantage of it because nobody was working, everybody was at home. So I got that's
how I made everybody here.
So I got contacts from friends I used to work with, And my very first interview that I did was with Dean Cudney, cinematographer.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, he did he did like the first 70s and 80s of John Carpenter movies.
Edge of Time. Shut up, Edge of Time. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Just looking here. Trying to see something.
There's always a whole other world in the chat. It's
chat's always funny. Come on.
Yeah, because they're bored with me talking.
I've seen a couple of guys recently. Dave, that's why I said to Edge of Time. There's this guy Dave who has an avatar of the Chinese sorcerer in Big Trouble in Little China, with his eyes glowing, he's one of those gentle trolls in the chat, always bringing up the comedy, and it's like stand-up comedy in the chat sometimes.
Excuse me, I need a cough.
Now, like with Dean Cudney, your go-to what would your go-to questions be? Halloween, The Thing, The Fog, all the classic movies.
Jurassic Park. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about a little bit about those, but I asked him questions about cinematography, and that's when he lit up and started going. Just started talking over. I mean, that interview lasted over 2 hours and 30 minutes or something, and that's the thing is that, if you ever interview someone, don't ask them your first instinctual questions because they've been asked it 100 different times.
I always think sometimes that celebrities wouldn't feel like they're human sometimes.
Yeah, and
because they get asked the same bullshit over and over and over, especially.
Yeah. And what really impressed Dean Cudney is that I started asking him technical questions about how not just. So how did you shoot that scene in The Fog?
Right.
No, I asked him technical questions about the cinematography. Anyways, I'm done.
No,
but it's good stuff, though, Paul.
But Paul,
some short, Paul. Come on.
But okay, I don't know. Have you ever done an interview with Bill Murray?
No.
Would you like to?
Of course.
What would you talk about first? And I'm going to flex my nuts after you answer you.
I like to know about the person.
Right.
I would ask them, a go-to question that I usually ask is, what was the first movie or TV show that you saw that inspired you to want to become an actor or a director or writer, whoever it is? What was that TV show or movie that inspired you? And I asked about their family. Was your family a movie-oriented family, or were you a black sheep of the family? And and then I talk about the first experience in acting. Was it Second City with improv? Was it a student film? What was it, and what was that like? Along with how did you I guess the difference, what did you learn from that compared to going into feature films? I wouldn't ask about SNL. Wait, he wasn't in SNL, was he?
Yes.
I wouldn't. He was. Okay. Well, I wouldn't ask about SNL.
He was.
I wouldn't ask about SNL. I wouldn't ask about Ghostbusters. I wouldn't ask about things like that. Because, what, did you interview him? Because to me...
No, but I would.
To me, those are questions. First of all, SNL is a sore subject for a lot of these actors. So I wouldn't even bring that up. And Ghostbusters, everybody under the sun and their brother's dog has asked them about Ghostbusters.
Ask him everything about Ghostbusters. He probably don't even like talking about Ghostbusters. I don't think he would.
Also, one thing I've learned too is comedians are the hardest ones to interview.
Yeah, don't be funny with them.
Not just
because they like to be more in the spotlight. You're the one bombarding them with silly ass questions all the time. So
no, not really. And not just that. It's that everything to them is sarcasm. So if you're trying to ask them a question, they're going to be give you a sarcastic answer, and then they treat it as if that's their real answer. And so obviously, I interviewed Chris Titus.
Oh, nice. How was that?
Oh, wow.
It was a great interview, but we started asking questions about, because he directed a movie a few years ago, and I forget what it's called, but it's, you know, low budget movie.
I know which one you're talking about. Look it up. Somebody look it up.
I think it's on Amazon Prime. But anyways, I asked him a question about that, and he gave a sarcastic answer, and then I laughed, and then he just kind of sat there, and I thought, okay.
Wow.
And so then I asked him another question to kind of, you know, move the conversation forward. And it's very hard to interview comedians. And then, of course, everybody, if they interview a comedian, they want to be funny. I want to show this guy how funny I am. And it never works out, because you're never going to be as funny as the comedian is, at least in their head. So you're going to make a joke or something, and they're going to do a fake laugh. And that's what happened. Actually, I didn't. My brother interviewed Chris Titus, and my brother made a joke, and he laughed like, ha, 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 ha. Total fake laugh. You know, he didn't think it was funny. And so it embarrasses you, because you're like, obviously you didn't think it was funny. And, you know, it's very hard.
It takes the sails, or it takes the wind out of the sails of the interviewer.
Yeah, exactly. And so with Bill Murray, I can see that happening, because I know people who's interviewed him, and they said he's very hard to interview, very hard person to interview. Because
I would be the best.
And maybe
nervous as hell. It's Bill Murray.
What's that? I can't see what that is.
Make me big, Bill.
That's what she said.
Nice.
Oh, nice. You got
and if he didn't want to talk about this, because I know this was part of the sore point of getting sort of off the rails when it came to Saturday Night Live, when I would drop the ace, which I don't know. Do I think I'm smarter than Bill Murray in an interview? The answer, yes. I would brought this.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I was going to say, Scotty.
Bring me a Blu-ray.
He vouched for that movie, too. He wanted to make that movie made.
And so and again, this movie is Bill Murray's Becker.
Yeah, and
that's the one I would want to ask him about. If I had to,
most.
I want to know about that movie. How did it get produced? What was going on? Tell me the dirty details. Get down to it.
If you haven't seen this is more Gatsby than Gatsby.
It's really good.
He vouched to get that movie made for sure.
Yeah, I think
it's the only reason Ghostbusters exists.
I mean,
yeah,
pretty much.
He's like, pretty much Ghostbusters 2 exists because of that movie.
Right, that's what I heard too.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, that would be a movie that he would probably line up.
Razor's Edge, and I'll do Ghostbusters 2 for you.
No, it was one. It was the first one.
That movie, when that movie happened, Bill Murray basically launched into Scrooged, Groundhog's Day, and then Aquatic Life, and everything else that he's done since then. That Bill Murray was born with that film.
And I would like to thank Kat in the chat, but don't forget, Kat, he would shut me the fuck down.
Well, I was about to say something here.
I would be nervous as hell interviewing Bill Murray. To be honest.
Absolutely nothing against you, Scotty, because you know I love you.
Thanks,
but
man.
Your personality and Bill Murray's personality would clash.
Oh yeah, we would fucking suck.
You would not make a good interviewer for Bill Murray, because
it would be a YouTube short.
Yeah, I mean.
Hey, Mr. Murray, do you want to talk about Razor's Edge? Click.
Yeah.
Say him like this. He'd be like,
well, one question, if I could interview him, one question I would ask is about Quick Change.
Oh, that's a great. I want that movie. It's hard to get on. Do you have it?
Yeah, it's on Blu-ray.
It's out of print. It's out of print now, though.
Yeah,
I'm also sorry for swearing.
But the thing is that was his one and only movie he directed. Now,
Oh.
what I want, my curiosity is not about the movie. I've seen the movie, whatever, not about the movie. I want to know what inspired you to take this on as a director. What was it? Was it the script? Was the studio? Was the studio going to ditch it, and then you said, "Hey, I'll take over. I'll direct it," and they allowed you to? You know what? In your mind, what made you want to direct this movie? Because he's never directed before a feature film before. He's never directed since. Obviously, if he's never directed since, he didn't like it. So, what was the experience like in directing that film?
That would be a great. That would be a great question.
I could answer that.
Not only directing, but also starring, and he also co-wrote it.
He co-wrote it. So I believe the OG director was supposed to be Richard Franklin.
Yeah.
And then
I want to see that. I want to see that David Letterman interview. David Letterman asking that question and talking to him about it. I think David could handle it with Bill Murray.
They're trained to, so yeah.
Well, and they're also.
Yeah,
I think Bill Murray and David Letterman hang out. So
he never liked to appear on those type of talk shows. Period.
And that's why I also say that he's very hard to interview. He doesn't like interviews. He hates them. He loathes interviews. And if you're able to get him an interview, then there's something about you that he likes.
I would ask him about Space Jam.
Space Jam.
Space Jam.
Honestly.
Larger than life. You know what? Okay, sorry.
I would ask him how actually tall is Sigourney Weaver.
7 feet tall.
I was going to say that movies like that, you would think, oh, I'm not going to ask about Space Jam. I'm not going to ask about Larger than Life. Those are actually movies that they would talk about, that I have found, because
the most obscure ones.
It's not huge like Ghostbusters. It's not a indie favorite like Broken Flowers or the Sofia Coppola movie. It's
the Dilophosaurus, yeah.
Billy Sword. Y'all are being silly in the chat, man.
I'm responding to the chat. I apologize, Paul.
Yeah.
Being silly in the chat. Come on.
And yeah, so I mean, if you talked about Larger than Life, he would probably be all up for it. I mean, you know, it's a movie that not a lot of people know about. It's a movie that he looks like he had fun doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you know what? I've never seen it, but I am such a big fan of Janine Garofalo.
Yeah.
That I desperately want to see it. And I know that Matthew McConaughey is in it. It is so difficult to get on DVD. It is one of those movies that is not out there.
I'll tell you one thing. I
interviewed Mystery Man on 4K.
I have, well, I don't have it on 4K, but I got it on DVD, and I love that.
Yeah,
I would adore interviewing Janine Garofalo. That would be.
Oh, that would be awesome.
That would be amazing.
I interviewed as hell. So come on.
An interview that I did. I interviewed and also talked with Harrison Ford once, not recently. This was probably 10 years ago or something.
What the hell? But Harrison Ford.
You know, he has this.
Did you ask him about Frantic?
No, but he has this. I keep forgetting words today. But anyways, he has this thing where people think he doesn't like being interviewed, and he's very hard to interview. It's a false persona he has put forth. There's some actors that do that because they just don't feel like being interviewed. But if you interview someone right in the right way, they're all up for it. I mean, I've interviewed people where I'm saying, well, you know, time's almost up. It's been an hour. Thanks for and they're like, oh no, stay a little bit longer. Let's chat a little bit longer. I mean, go on for another hour.
Oh wow.
But with Harrison Ford, he is the nicest guy you'll ever meet. And again, I think there's a persona about him being this grumpy old man now. He's leaned into that because
I think he gets asked the same damn questions over and over, particularly probably about Star Wars. And
well, he's always hated Star Wars.
Yeah, he did.
But shoot, what was the movie I asked? I asked him about a movie that he. Dead Heat. Is it Dead Heat on a Carousel?
Dead Heat on a Merry-Go-Round.
Dead Heat on a Merry-Go-Round.
Dead Heat.
Dead Heat on a Merry-Go-Round. That was his very first movie, and he was an extra in that movie. I asked him about that, and then and I didn't go into American Graffiti. I didn't go into Star Wars. I asked him about the smaller movies he did.
Apocalypse Now.
Nope, I didn't ask him about Apocalypse Now.
He's in Apocalypse Now, by the way.
in the director's cut, he is.
Yes.
But the problem with asking about Apocalypse Now or E.T. is that you have to bring up the elephant in the room is you were cut out of that movie. And they don't want to talk about movies that they were cut out of. Mm-mm. So you don't bring that up. Yeah, you know, I talked about more as I didn't talk about Frantic, but I can't remember the movie. But it was around the same time, like Frantic.
Presumed Innocent?
No,
Cowboys and Aliens.
It was around the same time as Frantic. Let me see if I can look it up here.
Cowboys
but anyways,
and Aliens.
Oh, was it the Amish movie?
No.
Witness.
That's it.
Let me see if I can look it up real quick.
Also, if you're interviewing anyone, don't be like, "What was that movie you were in?"
What was that movie you were in? It was such
I remember that you were in that one with Daniel Craig. How did you like it?
And you can't hate the movie. Or I hated when you read this movie. And then be like, well, fuck you.
Oh, yeah, over. But no, but that's, you know, but the thing is, well, I don't know. Like, I've never interviewed anybody, and it's kind of inspiring, Paul. Like, you obviously have had interactions, and you're obviously good at it. You're a great conversationalist.
I've interviewed Paul, and he's fantastic.
You have your research. You have knowledge.
Oh, yeah. And again, like I said earlier, it helps that I've worked in the industry. I've worked with actors. I've worked with directors. You know, it definitely helps. Heroes, 1977.
Oh,
have you ever heard of that movie?
My birth year.
My God. I thought you were going to go as obscure as the Mosquito Coast, but no.
That's not obscure. Yeah, Heroes.
It's not.
Heroes, he plays a Vietnam vet.
Okay.
And he comes back home. It's not, you know, a thriller or anything like that. It's a drama. And like, obviously you've never heard of it. I don't know anybody's heard of it. And I asked him about that movie, and he was, at first he was kind of speechless because I think he was processing, you're talking about a movie that no one's ever heard of, no one's asked me about. Mm-hmm. And then he lit up and started talking about it. And he says that he said at the time it was one of my favorite movies. But I didn't go into, well, you know, it's not now. You know, that's might be what you asked, but I didn't go into that. But that and shoot, what was the other movie? Dang it. It's late and I only had 3 hours of sleep last night. So
I haven't slept since 2009.
That's a movie, isn't it?
No, 2012 is the movie that I slept through.
I asked him about his TV work because after Dead Heat on a Merry-Go-Round, he did a number of guest appearances on TV shows. So I asked him about his TV work and how he progressed from TV to film, because they're two completely different formats. I don't know,
but styles of acting.
Yeah, they're two completely. On a TV show, especially a sitcom, you have to verbally raise your voice and talk extra loud. On a movie, you don't, because there's mics everywhere. On a TV show, you do. And the acting has to be a lot more gestures have to go into it in TV. So the acting style is completely different. So how did you transition from TV into film? Not just how, but how was it easy? How hard was it to do that? So, you know, those are the types of questions that I always go in asking. Unless it was like a press junket, then you have to ask about the movie, and you only have like 5 minutes. But an actual real interview, those are the questions I always love to ask celebrities or any kind of filmmakers.
Who's in the chat?
Well, then you won't last that long, Carol. Yeah, I know you're being funny, Carol, but I highly doubt you would actually do that in real life. But,
well, no, and it's true, Paul, what you're saying. I met M. Night Shyamalan once, and
Hey,
I kicked him
Jill.
in the shins,
Fucking
and I
Jill.
said Signs was boring, and apparently I got arrested.
And he doesn't give a crap what you think because that
Yeah,
movie
he
made a
doesn't
ton of
care.
money.
He doesn't
Village.
care.
The Village pissed me off. But
Why?
I grew to appreciate it over the years.
That's
the first
thing.
time I saw The Village, I watched it with a lady friend of mine,
Well,
and I was like, I
had-
didn't enjoy it all that much. I made out through the middle part of the movie, and then she stopped me from making out with her, and then she was like, "No, check this out, check this out, check this out," and we watched it, and I said, falsely, I enjoyed that. That was great. That was a great twist.
Well, let me ask.
And so then the credits rolled, and then we had the sex, and we never spoke again.
Oh shit!
Let me ask Carol a question though.
Go ahead.
Why?
Which one?
Why would you purposely go to a director and say your movie fucking sucked? Why would you do that? Number one,
I would
he
think
doesn't.
you would. I would think
Number-
you would
number one.
appreciate it.
Number one, he doesn't give a crap. No director gives a crap because it made money and the studio was happy with him. They don't care what some person in Texas thinks. I mean, and that's just being rude. Why would you want to do that? I mean, good grief. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me why somebody would actually go up to a person and say, you
I
suck.
wouldn't actually tell somebody that they suck. That's just
Be constructive. It's so silly to just not be constructive.
Well, there's an actor, and he's a bit of an obscure Canadian actor, and I didn't interview him. I had a conversation with him. His name is Luke something.
Come on, Cinema Go. You want me to send? Okay, I'll put the link. I'll put the link in the chat for Cinema Go.
What's he from?
He was in Mambo Italiano. He's been.
Over here, Cinema Go. There's the link.
I would have to look
Apologies.
up. His
Think
first
link.
name is Luke. I forget his last name, but I had a conversation with him twice. I met him twice, and both
the link,
times
Cinema Go.
I said I enjoyed his acting. I enjoyed his performances, but every movie that I saw him in, I wasn't a big fan, except for one. And none of this I remember. The first time I saw him, it was a rainy night. We were sort of standing in a covered area, and I had this conversation. I was half in the bag and high on the marijuana. And I was just honest with him, and I was like, I've seen you on the movies.
Marijuana? Holy shit.
I
Nice.
know it's Canada.
Well,
So-
let me say something really quick here.
Yeah.
Carol, if you actually did that, they would turn around and walk the other way. Or they would get their assistant to take you to take them away. Not take you away, but take them away.
You can't be that brutally honest to somebody. Come on.
It
I
doesn't
mean-
always end negatively.
Now,
Tell me I'm a
it
total
depends.
prick, and I'll be like,
I was just
okay,
going to
bye,
say,
you're off my
Scotty.
stream.
Well, Scotty, I was just going to say it depends how you do it. If you just go up to him and say exactly what Carol's saying here, that's not going to fly.
Luke
If you-
Kirby.
If Luke Kirby,
There's
okay.
still people. There's still people.
If
so
you
they're
did-
not gonna-
if
they're
you
not
did what-
gonna-
If you did what Scotty did, where he said, you know what, I loved you, like you talked about Rosita in The Walking Dead. If you went up and you said, you know what, I loved you in this movie that you did. I wasn't a huge fan of The Walking Dead. Your character didn't really vibe with me. I didn't really care for it, but I loved you in this. That is the way to do it. You don't just go up and say, you know what, your character fucking sucked in Walking Dead. I don't know why. This is what I would. If I was a writer, this is how I would make your character. You don't do that.
Hello, Mr. Kirby.
You were the
You're
bomb
balls.
in Phantoms.
Yeah, I mean,
You're the bomb in Phantoms,
Hey,
yo.
cat's coming on. Woohoo! Here's
Hello,
Cat.
Catherine.
Hello.
Hello.
Have you met everybody?
I think everybody but me.
Yeah.
who's that? There's no name.
I'm Scott's co-host from Captain Board.
Sly night. Slice
I'm-
night.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Who? I haven't met you, Catherine. Who are you with? Or
I'm Scott and I are co-hosts on a couple shows on our YouTube channel, Phantasmagorium Show.
Oh, okay, cool.
She is Slice
Nice
Night
to
in
meet
the chat. So
And
here
also, now that you're here, Kat,
now it's a party.
I've met you before. I've seen you on a bunch of stuff, but I don't like any of it.
Yeah,
And
and
we
that's what I would
have,
say too. She had the perfect answer. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Hey, guys.
All right, I'll see you later. She should have dropped out and left.
I mean, you know,
Hey, Ben.
Hey, before I lose the thought process for why I wanted to come on. Oh, hey, Twin Flicks.
hey man, how's it going?
Dude, we started our channels around the same time, and we've never actually talked in person.
I know. I think we've invited each other
Actually
on
exists.
I think we've invited each other on the show on each other's channels once in a while, but
A million times, and it never happened, man.
it just never works out.
I know. I'm sorry. Yeah, but I'm agreeing with Twin Flicks because I don't know who it was talking shit on Signs, but Signs. I think it was the guy in the middle here with the clerk's jacket on.
Never heard of the guy. Dude.
No, my 2 cents on Signs is it was the peak of M. Night Shyamalan's Hitchcock. Like that was where he was Hitchcock, and every frame of that movie is Hitchcock. I love Signs. It's my favorite Shyamalan movie. It's one of my favorite horror movies. I love Signs. So I can't remember who was talking about Signs, but
I just used it as a punchline. I wasn't actually.
I know.
disparaging it.
I'm just picking on you, but I heard Signs, and I heard people talking about Signs. I'm like, I have to come on and talk about
I
Signs.
love
Fuck that
Signs. I love Signs.
Signs is amazing. It's very slow burn in all the right ways. Like
It's my favorite
Yeah,
movie
that's all
about
my favorites.
belief in God.
let me ask you this: if M. Night decided not to show the aliens, do you think it would have been a better movie?
maybe at the end, you mean?
Well, and even
No,
that-
on the TV.
The aliens
So
look
the
awful
TV
in
scene
that movie.
the TV scene was brilliant.
No, it was bad.
And Joaquin Phoenix's reaction was brilliant. It was great.
See,
But I think Twin Flicks.
I
is talking
can't
about,
believe
like,
I used to respect you.
I think
See-
he's talking about maybe the ending where it's.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Well-
ending is what I think spoils it. They
I
could have
don't- I
done
don't
that
think-
differently.
I don't
think I
think
need
it.
to find a
I
new
don't think it.
co-host.
I don't think it ruins it. I don't think it's bad enough to ruin it, but I would have loved it if they showed it in silhouette and not so maybe up front.
Hmm.
But that's my.
Yeah, keep it a bit shrouded because it looked really like CG and fake at that point, whereas the other two
yeah.
times it's like actual.
Yeah, it was kind
physical-
of weightless. It had that kind of weird motion, like when you're a character in a video game and your body's kind of just moving.
well, that the thing, like the shot with the guy on the TV that you were saying, and it showed him come out of the bushes or whatever. That was a guy in a suit. You could clearly tell it was a guy in a suit.
Yeah,
When I
it's
first
so
saw
good,
it-
though.
But it worked. It worked.
The ending here was CGI alien, obviously.
Now, and then at the ending, when I forgot one of the aliens puts his arm through a door or something like that.
Well, he
reaches
puts it
down.
through the hay.
Oh
chute
yeah,
or whatever,
yeah, the hay chute. That part I laughed at because it looked so fake. It wasn't scary to me.
It was like
It
an
was
arm
like-
falling down in a haunted house. Yeah.
Now, what the part that really worked for me is when I don't remember if it's Mel Gibson or Joaquin Phoenix, but they hit the shovel and hits the light bulb and the lights go out, and it's just complete dark, and all you hear is sound effects.
Yeah.
And you have no idea what's happening.
Brilliant. So brilliant. Yeah.
They should have just I wish they would have done a little bit more with that. The lights come on, but not fully. Like what I believe, what was it? Catherine that said it, or someone. Maybe the lights come on, but not fully, and have the alien more obscure, more in the shadows. Like you see a figure in the shadoos instead of actually seeing it fully.
Yeah, I wonder
I-
if the right choice would be to knock the lamp, and it even dims a little bit, but it is swinging a little bit to almost reveal it by accident. Oh my God, it's
No,
over his
look,
shoulder,
they-
and the
I think it's
They
a very
did
simple
that.
filmmaking technique. You just show the alien in silhouette. You can
Mhm.
have the scene play out
Well-
exactly the same. You don't need to have some obligatory thing pop out. And do that again. That would be redundant. Like just shooting it differently.
Yeah.
Well, they did that with some of the shots there in the climax. You saw the reflections through the glasses of water that were sitting on all the furniture, and then you saw like a bit more of a blurry one through the reflection on the TV. But then it ruined. And that one was a little much. But then it ruins it when it goes for the money shot, and it's like, because like Paul said, it's not real when it's so obviously CG. It takes you out of the movie.
I know.
It should have been quicker too.
Shyamalan is always so good at building towards something. That's the way he writes, and that's the way he thinks. So,
I saw Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I've never seen that, but
neither have I.
You know what?
This movie you speak of, nobody talks about it.
Everybody deserves a couple of stinkers, Scotty.
I loved After Earth.
The thing I love about Shyamalan is he swings for the fences every time. He may not always hit, but he always tries to do something different.
Well, also,
I've never seen
even his bad movies, it is still very well directed.
Yeah.
Oh, The Happening was one of my favorites.
The Happening is the most hilarious movie I've ever seen.
You have to admit,
he's a student of Hitchcock completely. Every frame that he shoots is Hitchcockian. Like
even though was it After Earth that he did? But even though that movie,
even though should not be named according to Scotty.
No, it's fine. Oh no, we don't talk about the guy who slapped Chris Rock.
Even though that
Scotty
movie,
don't like Scotty don't.
Even though that movie's not good, the directing is good. I mean, when it shows him in the ship and the back of the ship blows out, and the angle that they have the camera, and you see him blow out of the back of the ship, it's extremely well made. So even though some of his movies aren't good, you can't deny that he is a very talented filmmaker by the way he blocks his shots, the way he builds tension, and that's the thing is that after he started doing, certain directors work best under certain category. Like he works best under low budget, low budget, kind of indie
restrictions.
Old school conditions,
which is why he's perfect for Blumhouse.
Dude, fucking The Sixth Sense could have cost $5 to make outside of Bruce Willis's paycheck.
As soon as he started getting,
now he can pay for his deep fake now. So
as soon as he started making big budget studio movies, that's when it all fell apart for him. And his movies were not good because he could do whatever he wanted. He had the money to do whatever he wanted, and he works best under conditions like what you said, that where there's not very much money and he has to be creative. That's where he works best.
That's why he's been getting better again lately, because now he's doing Blumhouse money stuff, and all his shit is good, in my opinion. I really liked Old. Like I thought it was pretty great.
I liked Old.
Yeah, and I haven't seen Old. And also, by the way, Ben,
I hate you, goddamn bastard.
You got to see Pearl. Pearl's the money.
Yeah, no, I know, and I will.
I like Pearl better than X.
But still, it's part of a trilogy, and I want to get in on the ground floor, and I want to see the trilogy. But
what do you think about it, Scotty? You like it?
I haven't seen it yet, sir.
Oh, you just bought it?
It just arrived in the mail a couple of days ago, and I have to admit, I am afraid of this.
Don't spoil it.
You'll love it, man. You'll love it.
I know you never steered me wrong, but
don't spoil it for me, please.
And this again goes back to what we were discussing in terms of interviewing people. One of my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movies is
Prayer with Anger.
Norm Macdonald has a show, and it's on Netflix, and it is an interview show for half an hour, and it is Norm Macdonald interviewing M. Night Shyamalan, and he is giddy as a school child. He is absolutely just enjoying having a conversation with, in my opinion, and this is swayed because Norm Macdonald is a Canadian, even after death.
Rest in peace.
It is absolutely one of those times where it's like there's no pretense. There is no, this movie sucks. It is just like, so, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
And it is amazing. And M. Night is great. and Norm,
I
obviously,
pitched that interview
and it's
in my
just playful between the two of them. And it's, again, as I was mentioning before, it's like Craig Ferguson and Harrison Ford having a conversation about airplanes. And it's like, do you want to pay attention to the audience? And it's like, nah, fuck the audience.
No,
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan's a cool dude. He's one of us. He's like a film guy. He's a film geek, you know? Like,
And if you've ever met him, I mean, I've met him and talked to him a couple times, and he is the nicest, coolest guy you'll ever meet. And if you talk about not his movies, but if you just talk about not movies, but filmmaking, he is so knowledgeable, and he will talk to you for hours about filmmaking.
So M. Night, what's a gaffer?
Not that kind of questions.
Okay.
Let Paul handle that side of it,
hey,
Scott.
M. Night, who's your favorite best boy?
Well, the one with the burger, yo.
I was going to say, you don't want to ask Bryan Singer that.
Oh,
I met Bryan Singer.
I
met Bryan Singer on the set of X-Men. It was filmed in Burlington, Ontario. I was there, and he was like, "Where's the Starbucks?" And I was like, "You should go to Tim Hortons."
I've never met him, but I have numerous friends that they've worked on X-Men 2.
Did they work on him?
Superman Returns, some other movies. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said, yeah, during X-Men 2 and Superman, he would all of a sudden he would just get up from his video village or wherever he was and just walk into the bathroom, be in there for 30 minutes to an hour or so.
This doesn't sound good.
And come back out, and he's all hyped up, ready to go, and everybody knew what he was doing.
Well, that's a director for you. They got it.
Yeah.
I got to take a bathroom break real quick.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
And he said that it's kind of like
turn out for audio.
It's kind of like a Harvey Weinstein situation where everybody knew what he was doing, but nobody could prove it or say anything about it. And he said everybody knew that he was having these parties at his house and doing who knows what to people, but
with people.
You make good X-Men movies, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's a question that I've always wanted to ask. Can you separate the art from the person?
Art from the artist. Art from the
Well,
artist.
I can until proven guilty. But
well, like Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey is still my favorite Lex Luthor.
Okay, Twin Flicks. I can separate the fact that I still love the old movies, but I'm not going to watch anything new from Kevin Spacey.
Well, I don't think he's ever going to make anything new.
He hasn't
again.
done anything new since.
But like Polanski, what's that, Phil?
He hasn't done anything new since he got the
he's-
leader from that
But he's
Ridley
still-
Scott movie.
No,
with
there's a fucking movie coming out starring Kevin Spacey, like
and Rebecca De Mornay.
Yeah, but like Roman Polanski is a good example. I started studying Polanski movies way before I even knew about any of his weird shit or whatever, and even that stuff's kind of debatable. It's just like, I don't know anything about that stuff, but some of his movies shaped the way I watched movies, so I'm always going to enjoy those movies.
Yeah. Let me say, real quick. I got to go soon, but I'll say this. Whenever
but why? You've only been here for a short time.
I
just
you
got
leave
in
us,
here.
Paul. You're so awesome.
Whenever somebody asks me that, I say, well, then you can't watch any movie ever made. Because every actor, well, not every, but majority of actors, directors, they've all done something.
Yeah, Edward Norton's apparently an asshole. He's one of my favorite actors in the world.
And I'm not saying that every director or actor has molested somebody or anything like that, but I'm just saying that, they've all done something. And so if you're going to say that just because it's been publicly known, I mean, you can still enjoy their movies. I know people, when Kevin Spacey came out, they threw away their Usual Suspects movies. They threw away LA Confidential. And I'm like,
I have it pre-ordered, by the way. Usual Suspects.
He's barely even in LA Confidential. I wouldn't throw it away for that.
And it's still a good movie. And also, why should you punish a movie for one person? That's what I think about. Is like, there's so many people, thousands of people that worked on this movie, and you have one bag egg ruin a movie for you.
Well, that's the thing. The art is the art, right? Like if a building gets built and one of the construction workers goes to jail for pedophilia or whatever, they don't bust down the building, so
Yeah, but also when it comes
You gotta
down to
remove
it,
all
like
the nails from the structure that he hammered in there. Never mind if the whole building falls down as a result.
I am not going to
it
stop
was a shitty
watching.
analogy.
I'm not going to stop watching Naked Gun movies just because O.J. Simpson killed his wife.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or Robert Blake.
Allegedly.
That's a good point, Scotty. That's a good point.
Allegedly.
He's hardly Nordberg is not that big of a part of those movies, so I can still enjoy the Naked
But
Gun
he's in
movie.
all three.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna watch Lost Highway even if Robert Blake is in it.
Scotty, OJ is more prominent in part 3, which came out I want to say the same summer that OJ, killed
Nicole Brown Simpson's body wasn't even cold when 33 1/3 came out.
It's okay. He's got a sombrero on. It's funny.
Allegedly.
Funny.
It's not allegedly. He killed him. Everybody knows it.
Anyway, back to what we were talking about.
O.J. Simpson?
I'm going to read this one, Scotty.
Jill says, ha ha ha, Canadians and their Tim Hortons, never been there, but I know they love it. Yes.
And maybe if you visit, maybe you'd find out why they love it.
Actually, it's kind of bottom of the barrel. It's kind of like a Dunkin' Donuts in Canada.
Yeah, I gotta go. My back's starting to hurt.
Well,
Paul, you're welcome to come on the Phantasmagorium show anytime you want.
Please. And
Sure,
also,
definitely.
you're a Quantum Leap fan, yes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, and if you'd like to join for the Quantum Leap, you're more than welcome anytime you wish.
As long as we don't talk about the new TV show.
No, I saw the first episode. We're never going to watch
It's
it.
not gonna make it
Oh,
past
Quantum
the
Leap.
first
It's all classic.
I made it through 10 minutes of the first episode and I turned it off. I'm like,
You know what? I missed the first 10 minutes. I watched the rest of it, and I was just like, I don't like this. This is CSI Quantum Leap.
Yeah, I mean, I could go on and on about why the original is so much better, but
you should join us. And that's the thing, is that we're celebrating the original series as opposed to poo-pooing the new one.
Yeah, Scott and I love waxing philosophical about all the movies we like instead of like talking about everything we hate like every other channel on the internet.
Yeah, that's good. That's why I don't go on many channels, because so many is like they build their fandom out of hate talk.
Yeah.
And we celebrate what we love.
Yeah. And that's the best channels. That's the channels I like going on.
I think we're very neutral. We don't do either or. We just talk about what there is, and we try to talk. We're just egotistical.
Friends.
We try to showcase ourselves instead of everything else.
We're just trying to hit it.
I don't care if you like that movie. Wasn't I funny in the review? That's all we really do.
That's all you care about.
And I would say, Twin Flicks, please come on our show. But we've done the song and dance before. That's it's a very open-ended, extended offer. But we need to make it happen eventually.
Yeah, I mean, my schedule's better now than it was before. So
good.
Probably do it. But yeah, I still follow you guys on Facebook and
I still follow you too. Yeah,
Twitter. So yeah, I'll message you guys.
Me and this guy, we started fucking when you guys were just little pups doing the shows when like, people were watching Screen Junkies and all that shit, and we're still standing.
Yeah,
I wrote over 350 reviews on MovieWeb back in the day in 2008 before they got rid of all that shit. So I've been doing this for a while too.
Nice. Yeah, I think I
started as a damn trolls. What did that tell you?
I think myself and Senegal, we both started in 2016?
Early 2016, yeah.
Yeah. So we've been doing it for a while. But
it's crazy how you have to change and like adapt and all that stuff,
Well, when you look at
you're doing well, man.
My original idea for my channel was to talk about filmmaking. And then I realized your average person doesn't care, or it goes over their head and they have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Right.
So then I switched to physical media, and that's where my channel really grew, especially when I started doing 4K Blu-ray side-by-side comparisons.
Yeah, I like that.
That's where you shine. That's where you shine, man.
Really good. Shine. And I've got So right now I'm working on all the Star Trek 4Ks,
Nice.
In Bruges, Tropic Thunder, and a couple others.
Poltergeist.
Nope, didn't do that one. But I'm doing the Lost Boys.
Lost Boy. Oh, that looks good.
Are they gonna
Well,
Twin
whatever
Flicks,
you do, don't
Twin
go full
Flicks,
Riri.
You're a 4K genius. Are they going to put The Room finally on 4K?
I heard they are.
You mean
I
Room
heard.
with Brie Larson?
No, that's
If-
called Room, Scotty.
The Room. The Room.
Oh, my
If they
mistake.
can find a distributor and someone willing to fork over the money to restore it in 4K and distribute it,
It was, dude. The biopic won like Golden Globes. It should be on 4K.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree.
It,
All right,
it would look
Beyond.
just as awful on 4K, and I totally wouldn't buy it. But it'd be funny to know that it was on 4K.
That might be
Would you
also why
rather
they wouldn't do it
here's-
because, is it cost effective to
Yeah.
spend
Yeah.
200 grand on the 4K restoration?
It depends on how many people want to have drinking games to 4K as opposed to regular DVD.
And if you're drunk, you're not going to care.
Exactly.
I admit I would really like to have a 4K of American Graffiti, but I don't think they will.
Oh, it's coming out. Yeah, they've already announced
Is it?
it.
Coming out
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
they
it's
did. I
been
must have
announced.
missed the vote on that one. That's good.
Yeah.
until next,
yeah.
until next year, though. But that's coming out.
yeah.
Because
Universal's
next year's the 50th anniversary.
Universal's been working on the restoration.
Oh, I'm
So-
looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
I want
guys.
to see a 4K of Strange Days, man. Oh, my favorite
Oh.
movie of all time. God, that
Out
was
of
fucking
all
awesome.
the Cameron produced movies, that is the one movie I desperately want on 4K. because
It's so
you can't-
colorful and expressive and beautiful. Oh, it'd be so great.
The only way you can buy it on Blu-ray is, I think it's a German release, and it's expensive, and it's Blu-ray, so it's not region
course.
free. You have to have it's region locked, so you can't even watch it unless you have a region free player. But all right, man. All right, guys. It's been fun. It's been real, but it hasn't been real fun.
Later, Paul.
Hey,
Yeah,
everybody,
Thank
Alright.
you again.
nice talking
All
to
right.
you, Twin Flicks.
Yeah, I'll be on again, and I'll get in touch with Cinegulp and Scotty, and we'll talk to you later, Philip.
All right,
Later,
thanks,
bye.
man.
That's it, Paul.
Good
Later,
guy.
Paul.
Good guy.
Hey, break that.
You brought the damn fire tonight. Holy shit. Actually, made me a damn.
Talk
Maybe,
more on your
make-
show than he does on his own.
he made my freaking stream fire. Like, oh shit. I don't think my
you.
streams are.
I was
boring.
making it awesome.
Scotty, by the way, I love your shirt. Love you.
Thanks, man. You know what? So I'm really looking forward to getting a Quick Stop smock, much like this. I found out that there is one, and hopefully in Toronto, not this week, but next week, they're doing the road show for Clerks 3. And
Yeah.
if I can get there
Woo.
and I
Let me
have
be on
the
camera.
money,
I'm sorry.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to see it, and I will talk about it with you.
That is
Also-
happening tomorrow night in Sacramento, and I've been waffling back and forth on whether or not I want to go because it's like, okay, it's Clerks 3, and then Kevin Smith does a Q&A afterwards.
How close
And
are
it's
you?
like, it's about 35, 40 miles from here.
I would go.
but-
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. And I was thinking, if it was kind of like his podcast that he does, where he gets to, because I'd rather listen to him talk about film and movies for 3 hours than, watch Clerks and have the Q&A about Clerks, and that's the end of it. Because it doesn't start until like 7 o'clock. And I don't know how late the event goes, but some people I know are going, and I'm trying to find somebody who wants to go because I would take the bus down there and the trains don't run back up that late, but
If I lived closer, I would totally go with you.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. It's
Yeah,
funny
well-
that you say that because Kevin Smith has become a director that I'd rather hear talk about movies than watch his movies.
exactly.
I
So I've heard.
I have such an affinity and affection for the fictional characters of Dante and Randall
Me too.
that I want to be there for the sort of bowing of those characters. I feel like, and I've heard, like, I don't care about spoilers, so I've seen some of them, and I'm just like, really? And because of the first movie being part of my burgeoning, like, love of indie cinema, and then the second movie being sort of like, oh, that's what happens when you get older, and then this movie being like, oh, I didn't know that's what was going to happen.
And I don't want to know when they're.
And well, no, I'm not gonna say, but it's just like I want to be there for this. This is it's almost, it feels like a pilgrimage. And so I want to go. And I just recently watched a thing from the Vancouver Clerks 3, and it's like, oh, that's where you get the quick stop smock, which is very much like this, but it's a quick stop as opposed to a movies. And I'm like, well, I got to collect the set. So I think I'm going to bankrupt myself to get there.
Do it, man, do it.
I'll let you know. Also, when are we talking about Fletch?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you son of a bitch. I spent $30 on it.
Well, I know. We've hit the October month, man. This is rough. And yeah,
I know. You're all about John Carpenter and horror now. So
well, no, the John Carpenter. And if I may, shameless plug, as Black Phillip likes to call it, we have two videos coming up this week. We have our annual Tumblr for our Halloween mixer, where we spin the wheel and we pick our horror genres. That video, and then we have our John Carpenter's where we talk about Dark Star and how that influenced his other movies. Both coming out the same week, but one's 29 minutes and one's only 3 minutes. So,
I've never seen Dark Star. I should.
it's something. Cat loves it.
It's great. I love it. That's a great movie. I first saw that movie probably 20 years ago or so, and I'm like, this is so weird. It's so different from anything I've ever seen before, and I love it for it. You know, and like you said, there's no real plot. It's just random vignettes of things going on the ship, and it's just so funny.
We have good stuff to say, and we have some funny bad stuff to say, but it's all in good fun. It's not a it's a love. It's like unfortunately Dan O'Bannon and Carpenter didn't work together again because of this movie, which is kind of weird. But I worked at USC Film School and they went to USC Film School, so I loved learning about their film school. Like them meeting up and them making this movie, and then the studio saying like, hey, well, it's a student movie at 61 minutes, so we have to add 15 minutes. Did you shoot any more footage? And then that extra footage that's added is really boring, but they put it in anyway just so they could make it a feature-length film. There's all kinds of cool things in the history of the movie. So hopefully we talk about that, and hopefully somebody wants to fucking watch it. So, whatever. Anyway. Carry on. But
speaking of Dan O'Bannon, I believe a new book about containing the art of Ron Cobb just came out this month. I'd have to look that up, but I believe the release date was supposed to be September 2022.
A book?
A book, like the art of Ron Cobb, because he recently passed away, I think January of either this year or last year. But they're working on a book for it, kind of like a coffee table book.
Oh, cool.
Yes, Ben, a book. It's like a very long tweet made of trees.
You mean like this book?
Oh, fuck you for being smarter than me.
Have you guys seen, there's a new Netflix, I think it's Netflix, documentary called Memory. Kat, you would fucking eat this up. It's a documentary about the concepts and the inspiration behind the making of Alien, the first movie.
Oh, yeah, I think I actually have a digital copy of that.
Oh, it's really good. It's very different. It's not really about the filmmaking. It's about what people's like thought process was, and like thinking about the concepts and the ideas of it. Like Dan O'Bannon's a big part, obviously. Like Geiger is a huge part of it. No, it's very interesting. It's different than just like your typical making of a movie. It's like it's like Greek gods and like all, and it's very well produced. There's a lot of really like interesting like little kind of not reenactments, but there's a little like vignettes in there and stuff like that look like they cost some money. So I was really intrigued. I've watched it twice already. Very cool. I've always been just like in awe of Dan O'Bannon. Like I love Return of the Living Dead so much, and obviously, you know, Alien, but watching him as an actor, a Dark Star, that kind of knocked him down a little bit because he's just awful.
I think it fits for what the movie is, though.
It does.
It's goofy.
It does,
the whole movie's so goofy, and him
way too much screen time, though. Like he's just in it way too much.
Well, yeah, that whole segment of him going after the beach ball goes on for a long time. And it's really funny watching that because it's like, oh, it's Dallas in the vents. I get it now. But
wait till you see the video, man. We do a whole thing about how long that elevator shaft scene is. It's just like, I'm
not gonna lie. I thought that whole sequence when I first saw it 20 years ago was just hilarious. I'm like, this is great. And that's because up until that point, I hadn't seen something as experimental as that. I think the only other experimental thing I'd seen up to that point was probably Eraserhead, and I hated it.
Yeah.
I was 13 at the time, and it was the longest 88 minutes of my life. And I revisited that film recently, and I still don't really care for it that much.
But that's the thing.
Which I know is sacrilege in a lot of circles, but whatever.
Unless you're on acid, you should only really enjoy a scene of comedy for maybe 20 to 25 seconds. When you're on acid, you can enjoy it for 15 minutes. The same joke played over and over and over with the elevator shaft. So I'm assuming the people that made it might have been on acid. John Carpenter, and so on. Who knows?
Stephen King was always on some kind of drugs when he wrote like
Stephen King loved the powder, man. He loved the snow.
He wrote it. He's like he regressed that freaking weird ass scene between all the kids when they were all basically raping each other. So
you guys know, you know what else is on Netflix right now is the original. I think it's 1978, the TV movie of Salem's Lot. It was a 2-part miniseries. I watched it in full on Tuesday night, and
hey, look who's back.
It's pretty bad, but it's eerie. Hey, Steve.
Hey, dude.
Hey, man. What's going on?
I didn't mean to interrupt.
I'll be back.
No, we were saying hi. We weren't really talking about much anyway.
I'll be back.
God, Steve or Philip keeps leaving.
He's got a bunch of things to do.
But yeah, if you guys get a chance to see it, it's fun. It's got like glorious cinematography, but it's kind of a boring. It's not a great adaptation. Kat seems to know what I'm talking about. It kind of has some like anticlimactic scenes towards the end and stuff like that. But it's kind of like really interesting, and it feels like one of those old classic horror movies when you're watching it through like the meat of the movie. But
what are we talking about? I'm sorry, I came in
Salem
mid shit.
The 70s miniseries Salem's Lot is
dude,
yeah,
dope, right?
It's got great. I love watching it, even if it doesn't end great. I just love watching the shots and.
I like the shots were great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's going on, dude? I haven't seen you in a while, man. How you been?
I know, I'm trying to. Hi. I was. I don't want to. Whatever. So here we go.
Where are we going?
I was about to get evicted from my. I'm getting evicted from my place.
No, I know. Congratulations.
Thank you. So great. No.
Now where are you gonna go to fuck when your mom's home?
Dude, I was here and then now I'm here. It sucks.
Are you serious? Because I was gonna.
Yes, Ben. I'm fucking serious. I was asking for help. I was like, hey, can somebody help me? Fuck, I didn't know how.
I told you, get a passport, move to Canada.
I need to.
Can I change topic briefly, Steve, and ask you how having R&B at your house for a barbecue was?
Oh, it was awesome.
You had fucking Robert Meyer Burnett for a barbecue. That's pretty badass.
Yeah, dude.
He actually invited me too. I just couldn't do it. It was my birthday party.
You should have, dude.
It was my birthday party. I couldn't do it.
Dude, I know, but but it was cool.
God, that's so cool. And thank you for inviting me, by the way, man.
Yeah, it would have been cool if we all fucking hang, but whatever.
I almost was gonna text you and be like, dude, can you guys just come over to my birthday party?
I know, dude. We probably would have if I wasn't so fucking drunk.
Well, I figured you guys already had a plan and stuff, so I didn't.
We were just hanging, and dude, Rob in my house, hanging out was cool.
Fuck yeah,
cool.
Man.
He's like, hey man, and he starts like looking at my fucking stuff. Yeah, dude, you're fucking dude.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's very cool.
Did you guys get nice and toasty? Get some buzz
No,
going?
yes, but I bought him a bottle of wine because I asked.
I'm back.
I asked Scotty. I'm like, dude, what did I do?
Well, you said you had a great time and you guys sat around.
No.
Oh, dude, you should have told him to do a midnight metal from your house.
No. And Scotty's like, dude, a bottle of red. Get him a bottle of red. So I went to the fucking store. I got a nice bottle of red, and I got a stack of steaks, and we just fucking hung. We hung out.
Dude, if I was you, I would have totally been like, we have to do a midnight metal from.
No. You know me, dude. I don't give a fuck.
No, I wouldn't.
And maybe and maybe I shouldn't have gave a fuck. I don't know. To have Rob in the house, but it was cool.
Awesome,
we hung out, and he sat on my.
Rob to come on my channel. Okay.
I know, dude.
Your channel? What about your couch?
I was like, dude, you gotta go on his channel.
Be right there,
I could count.
You gotta go on his channel. Guess what happened? You don't want to go to your channel, on my channel. You don't want to get on
this hand right here. It's exactly 5. How many times that RMB said he was coming on our show and did not show up?
You know what the coolest thing is? He's like, dude, we're sitting here, we're talking about shit, and he didn't say anything about any of our channels.
Well, yeah, he doesn't want to talk about that shit. He wants to.
Well, no, but he obviously said that I was cool, right?
No, it did totally. But it didn't mean that any of our channels suck. He's just like,
well,
okay.
You know what?
Like everybody,
it's kind. You know what?
It is what it is.
You probably hung out and talked about what was the name of that TNA show that he directed? It was on like Skinamax or something.
Skinamax. Yeah, well, come on.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. What the hell was it called?
I forget what it was called. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Like, no, I'm just, and it's
obviously it does matter. No, come on.
Hey, son of a red shirt.
Son of a bitch. I mean, son of a.
I would sit around and talk to RMB about a lot of things, and I would certainly not bring anybody on this
I'll
panel
tell you
up.
What we talked about was awesome, and it's good.
He is. I think he's friendly.
It was awesome.
I respect his work. I've already said that.
What are we gonna do?
I think the movie that he directed is one of my favorite romantic comedies of all time.
Kinda.
So I've said it many times.
You have.
I have.
Hi, Cat.
Cat's here.
Hey.
Also, well, speaking of which, have you checked to see if he wants to come on for the James Bond thing?
Me?
Rob?
Anybody?
Oh no, it's too early for him.
It is too early. He's probably going to be on camp yet.
Sorry. Yeah. It's way too early. So.
Well, I wonder if Carol wants to be on.
I'll tell you what. We could ask if he wants to do a recorded thing, but no way live.
All right.
Well, we can still invite him anyway. It'd be nice.
Yeah, it's not a no. It's just at that time you can't do it, right?
Yeah.
True.
But we can ask him to do a fucking if you want to pre-record.
Send him a red shirt.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All the time. Boom, boom, boom. Hola. Yes, Scotty. It sucks.
What sucks?
You typing all the time.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm a communicative individual.
I'm sorry. All right.
It's
Love
a
you,
Canadian
baby.
thing.
It is. It is. I'm communicating with the deaf.
All the time. Chinga.
But it is coming up on 3 a.m. And so,
Well, it's your fault.
well, no, it's the progress of
In
time.
this or what?
No,
I'm
I'm just saying I might have to step away.
Yeah, you should.
I might bounce soon too.
Hey Phil, I actually have to go, but I have a question though, and maybe it's already been answered.
Yes.
Why is this your last show? I don't understand.
Because during the month of October, I am doing a series of horror themed streams.
Hell
But
yeah.
your last ever, or your last for the
No,
month?
the
You don't have
last.
to announce it's your last if you're gonna eventually come back to it.
It was a clickbait. It was a clickbait title, obviously.
Oh.
Hello.
Oh, I see. I took the bait, Phil. You're so
You
smart.
took the
Okay.
bait, you bastard.
Those things.
All right, guys.
No,
Everybody have a great evening.
All right.
All right,
See you,
thank you,
Ben.
Ben.
Thanks for having me
Later,
on. And
Yeah.
long live signs.
Yes.
You son of a bitch.
All
right.
Yeah. Chinga to peach.
Swing away,
everybody-
Ben.
everybody's leaving?
Swing away.
Wing away.
We're at
Wing away.
we're at the almost 3.5 hour mark, so yeah, that's fair. It was a good stream. Better than I expected. So
Oh, Kat left too. She didn't even have the.
Oh shit.
Didn't
That's
even
all right.
say goodbye.
Well, whatever.
bye, Cat. Still love you.
Well, yeah,
Love
that
you.
goes without saying. Anyway, are there any? Are you winding down?
just us three, and y'all are ready to call it a night. You know, it's only gonna be 2:00 here in Tejas, so
Yeah.
I might watch a couple horror movies. You know, catch up on my freaking, you know.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I'm gonna go check out some deep fakes and take off my pants.
Sure. Yeah.
Go check out them do Bruce Willis deep fakes that he paid himself.
That is exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna check out Bruce Willis.
Mm-hmm. Well, then, if we're gonna end this, I shall see you on next week. Yes, this is not the last Insomniac hour. It was clickbait.
Same back time.
Same
Same
bad
back
time,
channel.
same bad channel. Next week, which will also be known as Halloween Havoc.
What are you gonna be talking about next week?
Favorite horror icons.
Bingo.
I will send you the list on Monday, Scotty. I promise.
Well, okay, great.
Yeah.
And
You have a
you,
Twitter?
Steve, if you want it. I have a Twitter.
Yeah, please do that.
Of course I do.
Whatever.
Well, you should totally give out the give a list. Throw it out on the tweets.
Well, if anybody's on Twitter, whoever, Jill's a mod, Carol's a mod, Edge of Time, I believe, is a mod also. So if y'all can throw out my tweet, my Twitter, the Twitter, I like to call Twitter Twitter. So yeah, it's no.
What is your Twitter handle?
I believe
Chinga
it's.
to peach, you mother
I
peach.
believe it's Phil, Andy, and TX77.
Nice. It took me a while to find it too.
Yeah, I suck at coming up with names.
It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, thank you again for having me on. And
That's the exit I expect from you, Kat. It doesn't bother me. Come on, we expect that.
it was
that's a
fashionable.
Perfect exit for you.
It was, yes, it was. But it was it was kind of hardcore. It's like, nope. I'm like, woo, okay.
Yeah. Hey, fuck
Smoke
you guys.
bomb.
Fuck you guys. I'm getting
Nice,
fuck out of here. Here's my twatter.
Get the fuck out of here. All right.
Here's my twatter on the screen.
Leave it to
I'm a
Jill.
queen.
And
Phil,
big ups.
Andy, and TX77. Yes, I was correct.
Well, big ups, you big monkey.
Big up.
Hey, next week is my time to shine.
Oh, I think you did a good job this evening.
Like I
I thought you
said,
shone like a diamond.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, having
Like a
Paul,
diamond.
like having Paul with Twin Flicks. I mean, he's an awesome guest. Always brings the fire.
It's fun.
He's knowledgeable in the physical media. He's knowledgeable in whatever genre you want to poke at him. So
I want to buy some more physical media.
You know
So
what?
next-
Next time we need more chicks.
Yes. Okay. More.
yeah, but chicks don't like horror, man.
Oh, I think that's a vast generalization.
Well, maybe I don't know. Well, I don't know. I was gonna say rebellious pastry, but they don't identify as such. So
That's not my business.
yeah, it's not my
your
business either. So.
My fucking business.
Oh, it's a
See?
Carol. You want to be on my panel, Carol? You're welcome. You're more than welcome on my panel.
All
Carol.
up in my panel. You want to be up all in my
You
panel?
want to be up on this panel? Yeah, you're more than welcome. How you doing, sweetheart?
I
No, just
do.
kidding.
Carol will
doing?
bring a knife and she won't be afraid to use it.
She'll shank us all if we fuck up. I
I
guarantee.
know. She's going to Kevin Bacon me right through the clavicle.
We'll see what happens next week. Like I say, YouTube are definitely guarantees for sure.
Oh, I'll
Hopefully, I
buy
can
weed.
Hopefully, I can get
Guaranteed.
Paul to come on again, and maybe
Oh my God.
Carol. If
Phil,
Carol,
I
you can-
guarantee I'll show up, I'll smoke weed and have premarital sex, and then you can
Smoke?
murder me halfway through that show.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, but who's going to come on for my next 3 shows? Come on.
Well, no, I'll come back for the sequels inexplicably.
Scotty don't die.
Yeah,
Got you, don't die.
I will try not to. Anyway, what was that?
Don't know.
He left. Oh, okay. Yeah. If you love horror, then yeah, you're welcome on my channel, Carol. 10:30 Central Standard Time. Because I live in Tejas, if you don't know. Tejas.
All right, brother.
All right, I'll see y'all later. Am I ending this? I guess we're ending this. So
No, it's up to you, dude. I'm down. I'm all for you.
thank you for everybody who showed up. Paul from Twin Flicks, you, Stephen
Yeah.
Foley, Scotty, my partner next week,
Good
Cinema
things.
Go, Stephen
Thanks,
Ransom,
All
everybody in the
y'all.
chat, Jill, Antiderivative Jill, Just Carol, who is now my mod, who's now an additional mod,
Cool.
Edge of Time. I believe I saw what's his name? Son of a bitch. I mean, son of a red shirt showed up.
A red shirt. Oh, dude, son of a red shirt. Nice. All right. I'm
And
gonna
everybody who showed up in the
I
chat,
love
thank
you.
you.
love you back. All right. See
I'll
you.
see y'all next week. It's finally my time to shine. So hope to see y'all next week. Don't forget Horror Icons, Back Phillip Presents, Halloween Havoc. See y'all next week. Peace. Love y'all. Bye.